you ever going to start this podcast you've been talking about for like forever?
Do you think that anyone will actually want to listen to something like this?
What is your plan for an introduction?
Are you sure you want to talk about these topics? People usually disagree.
3 hours? Are you crazy?
Do you think you're some kind of expert or something?
Are you planning to have an intro song?
What if a bunch of people get really mad and hate you over this?
Do you even know how to make a podcast?
Are you just doing this because you like to argue with people?
Don't let this be just one more thing that you talk about doing, but never actually do.
Wouldn't it be better to do just one episode for each topic?
Stop trying to change people's opinions. Just live your own life.
Dude, people are never going to agree. Just let it go.
Is this going to be a long intro? Because if it is, I'm bored already.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Why Can't We Talk About That? So exciting, right? For the first episode, my guest is Juan Sanchez. Juan is one of the first people that I ever discussed the idea of this podcast with. He was also the first person I asked if they would be willing to participate, provided I ever actually started it, so it only seemed fitting that he would be my first guest. A little disclaimer before you listen to this episode, and I guess for all future episodes as well. We engage in many controversial things, like making jokes, saying things that you might disagree with, and having open discussion about topics that you may feel very passionately about. We may even use words and phrases that are considered to be hate speech in some circles. You have been warned. In this episode, we discuss Green Day, Coheed Cambria, Metallica, and Nirvana. We also discuss systemic racism, homelessness, transgenderism, equal wage, and the problem of putting our own meaning behind what someone else says. During our discussion of spiritual matters, my guest makes a very profound statement. He says, "You can't prove something that isn't real." Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. It's quite a life-altering statement. Right up there with things like you can't hear something that makes no sound and you can't taste something that has no flavor. My life was changed from that moment forward, and I hope that this discussion changes your life as well.
We'll get into it. So I was the only brown kid growing up in Colorado, and that some of that white stuff, dude, is like, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about some of the systemic racism, quote unquote, stuff.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I'm glad that you're coming around and actually seeing it. I'm very proud of your growth.
Oh man. All right, so where do we start? First of all, how does it feel to be the first openly homosexual on this podcast?
Well, I feel honored.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. You're actually not the first.
No.
You're like the second or third openly homosexual.
All right, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
We're definitely getting canceled.
No. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been thinking about that joke for weeks, and I was going to open with that, and I kept thinking to myself, like, someone might hear that and be like, dude, this guy's homophobic.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's homophobic.
The thing is, though, like, it's all about context, you know? Mm-hmm. But I think Kathy was right, man. Even within joking aspect, dude, there's no such thing as joking with the left anymore.
Right.
We're on?
We're on.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I don't think... Yeah, no, I know you're not homophobic. I'm not homophobic and stuff like that, but it just seems like you can't make jokes about anything anymore.
Right.
And which is ironic because, we were talking about SNL earlier, you know, how it's left-leaning, and back in even the 2000s, comedy was very left. Take, for example, The Office, dude.
Oh, dude.
The jokes, like the gay jokes, the Mexican jokes, and all that stuff.
Purposely not PC.
Yeah. And that was the left, and everyone, was rightfully so that they were liking it because it was funny, but now you can't make jokes.
Yeah, there's no humor anymore.
No.
And people have tried to turn that on me and say, well, you just say that because you're not those things that they're making fun of. And I think to myself, well, I think of all the things I do believe, and I think, like, if someone makes a joke about it, because there are jokes made about that, I don't really care.
No.
Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, if someone comes in and starts making jokes about my wife or something and she's getting upset, then obviously I'm going to have a personal beef with that. But I mean, just as a general, it's like people are offended by just the general now.
Yeah.
You can't make a joke about transgenderism or about homosexuality or about, whatever, the religion, or it's like all these taboo things that you're not supposed to joke about. And it's like, why can't we just laugh? Why, but even SNL, right, is like doing a lot of that. And you see, they shy back from it now, right? Like they used to be the king of that. They would attack everybody. You know who still is good at that is South Park.
Yeah.
South Park still is good at hitting everybody. It doesn't matter what side of any issue you're on, they will make fun of everybody. Right?
They will. Yeah, they will.
It's equal,
But the thing is, man, I haven't seen South Park since I want to say 2014. Not that it's bad or anything like that. It's just I don't know, man.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
For reals?
For reals.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, back when it first came out, like, what was that? Like late 90s?
90s? Yeah.
Because I remember I was living down in San Diego when that show came out, and that was the only time in my entire life I haven't lived in Santa Maria. For like 7 months, I lived down in San Diego and worked in a warehouse, and the guy working there, he's like, "Oh man, have you seen heard of the show South Park?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" So then I started watching it. I was like, "Oh, dude, this is funny." But yeah, I haven't. But I've heard about certain episodes that are coming out, whether it's Trump or Biden or who. I mean, they rip on everybody, right? Which I think is admirable, right? It's like that's good, because you're not being so upset by, oh, I'm only going to make fun of people that are not me, are not my views and my position, but no way would I ever touch my positions, right? It's like, no, just make fun of everything.
Everyone. And I guess that's why maybe they have the antidote against anti-cancellation, because they're not just going after the left, they're going after the right, the center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody. And then you can't even really pin down what their own views are.
No, exactly. Yeah. And that's how I try to maintain myself in a professional or even in just friendly conversations. I try to not stay apolitical, but I'm a polemic, so a lot of polemic, whatever.
Polygamist?
What is that? No, man. Polemic, yeah. And a lot of the things, I like to say that a lot of my views are a parody of themselves. I don't even know what I believe anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah, okay.
You know what
I do believe some stuff. But a lot of the things too, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't consider myself left or right.
I don't either. I don't hold to that. I don't hold to Republican or Democrat. I don't hold to any of that. I look at it from the standpoint of, do I agree with this position and why? I don't care if it's Biden or Trump that makes the position and says this is, or the policy and says this is going to be the policy. I either say that's dumb, or I think that's dumb, or I think that's good. I don't care. I'm not afraid to say, oh, well, Biden did something good, or Trump did something good, where some other people would be like, well,
I can't this. I have to maintain the party
it's like 100%, right? It's like Trump's never done anything good, and Biden's never done anything bad, and it's like, whoa,
and vice versa.
And vice versa. It's like, come on, people.
It's like you're being cockholded to your own party. I don't want. And I'm a free thinker.
Right.
A free thinker.
And the good thing, I think, is it seems like a lot of people are going that direction lately.
I think so too.
It just seems like the partisan lines are getting kind of blurry, and
so let me push back that. I think there, you said some truth that a lot of people are leaving their rigid political lines. I kind of agree to the extent, but I think it's more like me, where it's like not me realizing, it's just apathy at this point, man.
Right.
I didn't vote. The last election, I did not vote, man. And it's
you're putting that out. This is being recorded, dude. You're telling everybody you didn't vote, man. That's pretty bold.
Well, it's not voting. Not voting isn't in itself a vote too. Right. So that's the way I see it.
It's a stand.
It is a stand.
Right. Yeah.
I do believe in government, and I do believe the government has a responsibility to take care of its people.
Right.
But I think a lot of people voted for Trump because they saw that their government was not materially providing for them, whether it's Bush, whether it was Obama, whether it was and Trump, and especially now we don't have government institutions that people believe in. And why should they believe in? What have they materially done to provide it for us?
Right.
To help us put food on the table.
Right.
What? When Biden took office, he gave us $14,000 or something like that. Remember the stimulus check?
Each person?
No, 14,000. 1,400. 1,400.
Oh, I was like, dang, I didn't get no 14,000.
1,400.
What kind of checks you getting, bro?
Nah, I wish, man. No, there was polling done, and that was, so after the 1,400 checks went out, they did polling. That's when he had his most favorable, approval rating.
Right.
It's because he was providing for his population.
Right.
Now, what are we doing now?
But see, that's always, I understand that, but I always see that kind of as a problem because it's like.
Well, it's my money. They're just giving me my money back. So.
Right. But it's almost like, it goes back to like when you take, when they're trying to win you over.
Yeah.
Right. They're trying to get your favor. Yeah. And it's like, well.
Don't be naive, man. That's what. And?
Yes.
Yeah, I know where you're going. And?
But who is, though? I mean, everybody is naive about it. And it's like, you just take the money and I mean, but see, people say to me, well, you don't want your money? Give it here. I'm not giving it to you.
No, exactly.
I mean, it's given to me, even if, I might not agree with it. But I mean, I know people that just give it to charity or they do whatever because they really don't want the money. Yeah. But I don't know. But anyway. Why we jump right into politics?
Let the thing flow as it
that's
true, we want to go back to the
let's well, I mean, there's no set schedule. There's just set topics, I guess. Three main topics, right?
Wherever you want to go, man. Do you take it?
Yeah, well, let's
okay, Weezer sucks. Okay, Weezer sucks.
Well, you
now.
went for the jugular there,
yeah,
dude.
Okay, Weezer sucks now.
Okay.
Except for that song that you showed me, but
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, no. What kind of music do you listen to?
Okay, so that's kind of I'll give you a little background. I'll try not to be too long with it, but so I grew up. Music's always been huge for me.
Okay,
big time. Probably the earliest musical memories I have were things like that my parents used to play in their car. I mean, you're talking early '80s, right? So you had Phil Collins, Genesis. I think the first cassette tape I ever owned was Michael Jackson's Bad.
Okay.
So I've always loved all of that. But then I got into rap. Like I used to listen to, I started off with like the kind of the radio play kind of stuff, and then got into like Too Short and NWA, Eazy-E, all that kind of stuff. And we're talking, I'm like 8 or 9 when I started listening.
Oh, okay.
Real wholesome music for a young child. But so by the point I reached junior high, I was the guy who said everything but rap sucks. I hated rock. I hated country. I hated anything else, right? Until about 1990, 1991, when the grunge movement hit, and you had Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, right? The whole Seattle movement, and then you can throw in LA bands like Stone Temple Pilots and some of those other ones. Smashing Pumpkins was another one. Yeah. But it was mainly, for me, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. Okay. Were my two takeaways from that. So.
Alice in Chains is the Dave Navarro, right?
No. That's that Dave Navarro was in Jane's Addiction, I believe.
I always get those two.
Yeah, and then he was in the Chili Peppers for one album too. I think the One Hot Minute album he was on. I believe that was the one he was on. But no, Alice in Chains is some of their big, like Them Bones, Man in the Box was a big hit in the 90s. Rooster, Down in a Hole. They had a bunch of good ones. And they're all dead, man. I mean, like almost every grunge singer from the 90s is dead, with the exception of Eddie Vedder. And at least the Seattle ones, right? Yeah. Chris Cornell's gone. Lane Staley from Alice in Chains is gone. Kurt Cobain's gone. Yeah. I mean, they're all gone. The guy from Screaming Trees which was another lesser known grunge band from that time. He died, I think just this year. But anyway, so it's got to be like 93, I'm guessing. It was right after Pearl Jam's Vitalogy album came out, which was their third album. My parents got me tickets to see them play live in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. Because they had friends that lived in the near area, so I went with her daughter and a friend of mine and went to go see Pearl Jam. And Bad Religion, are you familiar with Bad Religion?
Somewhat.
So they opened up. Okay. And that was my first exposure to punk rock, specifically kind of that 90s skate punk sound. And from then to this day, that's my favorite genre of music to this day. That's punk, hands down, punk rock. Specifically like 90s skate
era?
Punk. Yeah, like you're talking Bad Religion, NoFX, Pennywise,
is good.
Guttermouth. Those are some of the bigger names. But But you know, all the Fat Records bands, No Use for a Name, Strung Out, Good Riddance, like all those were just fantastic.
Are you familiar? Sorry to interject, because all those bands.
All you want, man.
No, all those bands like you said. Do you remember New Rock 107.3?
The station?
The station that used to play here? Oh, okay. So they would sometimes do like giveaways during the MySpace era. So I remember I left a comment on their page and they sent me the Rock Against Floyd. I don't know if you're like little...
Is that a compilation?
Yeah, the compilation.
Okay.
So there was Rock Against Bush, there's Rock Against Floyd.
Yeah.
So I got Rock Against Floyd and I had No FX.
Yeah, that's a Fat Records comp.
Oh, that's... Okay, sounds good. Okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm...
The singer for No FX is named Fat Mike and he owns Fat Records.
Okay, so now I know where to go on YouTube or stuff like that to listen to the music, because I, not that I was a huge fan of it, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. NoFX is probably one of my favorites. I've seen him live. I saw him live in Ventura. I used to go to shows all the time back in the day. It's been a long time since I've been to
a show?
Any shows. I mean, well, I don't go as much. I put it that way.
Well, you're being socially responsible, man. It's bad to go against to places, you know, during a pandemic.
It is.
And you know what? I feel guilty, too, that I didn't bring my mask, and I want to apologize.
Well, I got a bunch of them. If you really want to wear one, I mean, you can.
I am wearing one.
Yeah. It's true. They're not going to know, right? I mean, the people listening to this will never know.
I'm being socially responsible.
Yeah, that's good, dude.
I care about your health.
Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, so that's the guideline here, is you can wear them or not wear it. It's up to you.
Yeah.
My house doesn't have a mask mandate, but we're not going to force you not to wear one either.
Okay.
You know, if you want. Like I said, we have this Japanese exchange student. She wore one a lot when she first got here.
Okay.
But I think the more she's walking around and seeing a lot of people not, she's just like, oh, okay, whatever. So, you know, it's nice to see people's faces now, you know.
It's nice, man. But the thing that gets me, it's when I still see people outside with their masks.
Dude, by themselves sometimes. Or the dude driving in their car with nobody else in the car. It's like, what are you doing?
What are we doing?
Well, see, that's where it's got to be that virtue signaling, right? Where they talk about it's more to show everybody that you care.
Yeah.
But dude, and how about this? I don't know if you've noticed this, and this might get me into trouble. I'm not going to use any names, of course, but I'm sure people that we work with will listen to this. But so they brought back the mask thing. They took the mask thing away finally after a million. First, it was only the vaxxed could not mask, and the unvaxxed still had to, right? Or didn't self-attest or whatever. Fine, whatever. So then they take it away for everybody. Cool. So now we're all. I kid you not, dude. I swear this is true. As soon as they, I would notice who was still wearing them and who wasn't, right, during that whole thing. I know just about everybody that's vaccinated, because they're not shy about letting you know that they're vaccinated. I kid you not, dude. As soon as they took it, they removed it for everybody. The people that weren't wearing masks when it was only the vax could not wear masks, they started wearing masks again. After they said nobody has to wear them now, whether you're vaxxed or unvaxxed, they put them back on. Yeah. I'm going, what in the world, right? So then we had this whole thing with this little outbreak status, or right, where we had to wear them for 14 days or whatever. And I kid you not, dude, it's like there's people, they're wearing them almost like when they're not told to. Yeah. It doesn't make any, it's weird. So part of it, I think, is virtue signaling, but I think a lot of it too, especially, so I am vaccinated. I'm twice vaxxed and boosted. Triple boosted?
No, I'm not getting boosted no more.
I'm vaccinated too. Yeah. Polio, Tdap.
Yeah, me too. I'm Mexican, so I have the vaccination.
Yeah. Looking for it?
Yeah, right here. Yeah, there you go. So,
that's quite a farmer tan you got going. Hey,
I do, dude.
Hey, you're whiter than me, man.
Hey, man, I am brown, brother. I am brown.
That's epic.
But so, especially during first on, you know, and I think to this day, there's a mentality where like catching COVID is like a moral failure. So I think a lot of them are still like scared of like, oh, I don't want to catch this because I don't want to be responsible for you know, getting other people sick. Which I'm not saying, hey, go get other people sick. I'm just saying that with respects to COVID, it, like, especially early on, I remember seeing all the YouTube channels when we were like locked down and stuff like that, stay home and stuff like that. And I was one of those people who's like, I don't want to get other people sick, you know? Yeah. Especially if it leads to you know, what do you call it?
Death?
Yeah, death and stuff like that. But now that we have different treatments to fight against it and all that stuff, man, it's like...
Can we top you off?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Okay, I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Where was I? I'm not a good speaker, man, so...
You're talking about COVID
and a moral failure. Yeah, it's like a moral failure of catching it. And I used to be like that. I was like, well, I don't want to catch it. It would just seem like, people would know. It's like I was doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
But now that we have thank you. Sure. Now that we have different ways to combat this, man, and I don't know why they're still pushing this message that
I don't know, dude.
that it's virtually or it's morally wrong for you to catch COVID. It's just now, thanks to vaccinations and stuff like that, we're not seeing as many deaths. I mean, we are seeing cases rise, but it's just cases. Hospitalizations are going up as well too, but it's not to the point where it's like ICU. We're not seeing a lot of ICU and deaths now. It's like, okay, so this is becoming, and I'm not trying to be facetious or anything like that, but it has become some sort of thing that we're gonna have to live with.
Right. It's endemic.
Yeah.
Right at this point.
And it should be. It should be endemic.
Yeah.
Politically speaking,
yes.
President Biden could have came in and said, you know what? We have vaccinations. We're good to go. We're lifting all this stuff up and treat it as an endemic. He would have been. He might have been seeing. He might have been popular at this point, and we might not have inflation and all these supply side issues if we just let go of the pandemic thinking.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like there seems to still be a lot of people who are waiting for it to be gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, when can we stop doing things like masking up for 14 days when there's a quote unquote outbreak? And people say, well, when COVID's gone. Well, that's just never going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just going to be part of our normal flu season now. It's going to be there. And I think, like you said, we need to start looking at the risk assessment, right? Yeah. Is this, well, some people die. Sure. Do some people die from the flu? Yes. Do some people die? I mean, people die lots of ways, and it's just the way it is, So, and I realize that for every person that dies, for that family, that's devastating, of course. Yeah. I mean, whether it's your grandparent or your child or whatever it is, it's always going to be close to home. Of course, right? And that's what you need to look at, right? You don't, when one person, when a 2-year-old dies in a car accident, you don't outlaw cars. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, if 50% of every person that got behind the wheel every time they drove somewhere, if 50% of people died every time they got behind the wheel, then we can start talking about outlawing cars, because that's a big death toll, right? That's a big deal. You have a 1 in 2 chance of dying every time you get behind the wheel. I mean, so that's the way it should be looked at. And, plus you have all these lockdowns, you have all this stuff with more people losing their livelihood, losing their lives in some case from poverty, and all this, from shutting down their businesses. Yeah. So I mean, you gotta look at all that too. So. You're
robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a political. I don't know if that's a biblical reference. Is it Paul and Peter? Is that where that?
Peter and Paul are in the Bible.
Yeah, but it's not.
I don't think one ever robbed the other.
Okay.
But I don't know where that term comes from. That's homework for me to look up. But yeah.
Okay.
So
how did we go from Weezer
we went from no effects to COVID to that's why, because we were talking about going to shows. I haven't been to shows lately, and
because you're being responsible.
Because I'm being irresponsible, which is actually not true at all. I mean, that's not why I haven't been going to shows. I mean, I went to a lot of shows when I was younger. When we were first married. My oldest daughter, who's now 23, was little. She was probably like 1 or 2, and I would go to Ventura Theater mainly. Okay. was the main place. I've seen Bad Religion there, No Effects. I never got to see Pennywise. I saw Guttermouth there. Okay. The Living Room was a place in Goleta. That was a really cool venue. It's not there anymore, but it was cool. I saw AFI there. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, AFI. Okay.
Dude, are you a fan?
Am I thinking of AFI, the emo band?
Yeah. Okay. They kind of became that later on. They started off as a skate punk band. Their first 2 albums were very skate punky, and then Their third album was kind of hardcore.
Okay.
And then by their fourth one, Black Sails in the Sunset, which is my all-time favorite, that's where they really started to get more melodic and just, dude, such a great album.
I'll check it out.
You should.
I'll check it out.
You should check it out because it's
I'll
epic.
do some homework. I'll write down the bands that you're telling me,
And then their album after that got them some commercial notice. And then the album after that one is where they really got. They had
into the emo?
Yeah, they had what was that Girls Not Grey, I think. Or was it Miss Murder?
Miss Murder,
right. There's one song that just kind of really put them on the radar for everybody, and everydy's talking about it. And a lot of people thought that was like their first album, and it's like their sixth album actually, but whatever. But yeah, it was because when I saw him in Goleta, it was right after Black Sails had come out. And it's kind of more gothic, I guess, in his look. And that, so the stage, they had like lit jack-o'-lanterns all over the stage in the front. And he came out and his hair was black. His face was white. He just like totally very goth, right? To where before he didn't look like that. And then you look at the different eras of Davey Havok and it's like, his look has changed so much. He went through this preppy phase where he's wearing suits and he has hair all like stylized. The pretty boy kind of stuff. But people will call them an emo band.
Well, that's how
and I think a lot of some of their newer stuff could definitely be classified as that. So still good. I mean, I still really enjoy their new albums. It's just not quite the same as the older stuff. But like, what about you? Like, I know there's an age difference. So what I got about 10 years on you?
How old are you? If you don't mind?
I'm 44.
I'm 33, so 14 years.
Okay, so that's a
lot.
But
even then, I grew up with my cousins who are 80s and stuff like that. So a lot of the music they listen to, I came into. So
like, what's your earliest?
My earliest
for music, like
for music, So I think as a kid, and I think my sister's going through this. You don't listen to music, there's this era where like, I don't care for music.
Right.
So
weirdos.
Yeah, no, and then they'll come back to it. We all come back to music.
Right. Yeah.
My earliest memory, when I found out, not found out, but when music. This is what music is. This makes me feel music.
Right.
Feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Green Day. Green Day was my first band, man.
Okay.
I had their discography from 1,000 Hours to Kerplunk to Dookie to
the old stuff. Nice, man.
I loved Green Day, man. Up until not American Idiot, but the one after 21st Century Breakdown, which I love. 21st Century Breakdown.
Yes.
I loved 21st Century.
Yeah.
And then 1, 2, Uno, Dos,
Tres.
Whatever. I don't care for it.
Yeah, those were kind of weird. I mean, especially kind of with the sound. They kind of like, what was that? There's that one song on one. I think it's on Dos.
DJ Kill the Radio.
No, there's that one, Kill the DJ. I don't remember what album that, but there's the one with featuring that girl, where she kind of like raps a little bit. Oh, what's it called? It's Her Name is the name of the song, I believe. She's like some DJ or VJ or something from somewhere, and they met her or something, and but it doesn't. You'd never guess in a million years it was a Green Day song.
It was a Green Day. Okay, yeah.
And she's like the main vocalist in the song.
Okay.
I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm with you. I'm with you. I think that after that they got very strange, and then their newest one, that Father of All, which we'll leave it at that, is the same. It's even weirder to me, like in sound. Again, I enjoy it, but
I'll have to check it out. I didn't even know they had a new album.
Oh yeah, it's not. I mean, it's probably a couple years old now. It's the newest.
Do you remember Billy Joe's side project
with Nora Jones, or are you talking about Pinhead Gunpowder?
I don't know what it was called, man. They had it was around the time of Uno Dos or one of those.
Okay.
Or a little after 21st Century Breakdown, but it was they had a couple of good songs. It was like Foxtrot something. Let me look it up, man, because I'm interested.
Yeah. I haven't. I know about Pinhead Gunpowder, which has been around forever and started around the same time as Green Day.
You know what? You might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Billy Joe, I don't.
But then he had that side project with Nora Jones too. That was I
didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was like they played Everly Brothers. You remember the Everly Brothers? Old band from like the 50s or the 60s. You'd know, like Kathy's Clown and
Foxborough Hot Tubs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never heard that.
There were it had a couple good songs.
Is he a vocalist in that?
Yeah, it's his own thing.
Okay.
I think maybe some members of Green Day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It's
for
really
sure. But yeah, well, so you bring up Green Day, so that's the kind of poppy punk that I'm talking about. They obviously them
post-punk,
like them and the Offspring were probably the first ones to really hit the mainstream in the 90s, and everybody's talking about them. And then you follow that with like Blink-182 and some of those other bands. But Yeah, Green Day is a great story because they started in like the East Bay,
Oakland,
like the Gilman Street. There was
Yeah.
the 924 Gilman Street was a big punk scene back there. My favorite band of all time is called 15, and they came out of that scene. But like Operation Ivy,
I heard of them.
you've heard Operation? Like they kind of started the whole ska punk kind of thing, and Green Day, back when they were called Sweet Children still.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember.
Opened
Yeah,
up,
yeah, yeah.
right? They were the opening band for Op Ivy's final show.
Okay.
And then they just kind of blew. I mean, by the time Dookie came out, right? Like you had like those EPs, like 1,000 Hours and 39 Smooth and all that. But then you had Kerplunk, which got him some recognition.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when Dookie dropped on the major label, it was like, oh man, like everybody's Longview and Welcome to Paradise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what was that slow one that everybody liked? When I Come Around. Yeah. And Basket Case. I mean, they had a bunch of...
dude, Dookie's great.
It's fantastic,
Dookie's great.
yeah. And then
even the last song, FOD.
Yeah.
Long as Pause.
And then you got the masturbation song at the end.
Yeah. Yes,
all by myself.
Yes, all by myself.
I was alone. I was all by myself.
Yes, dude. Oh, yeah. So Green Day, legitimate was my first band where I was like, yes, every song. Now there was one album that I do not care for. It was, I think it's the one after Warning, where it's like an owl on the cover. It had one good song. They had like one good song in that song.
Warning. I thought American Idiot was after Warning. Oh, the owl. You're thinking of Insomnia.
Yeah, Insomnia. That album was kind of
that came after Dookie.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
okay. Yeah. Okay, my bad.
And then was Nimrod, and then Warning.
Nimrod was good.
Nimrod had that's one that had Good Riddance on it.
Yeah.
Time of Your Life. Yeah.
Time of Your Life, and dude, Nimrod. Yeah, sorry, Nimrod is one of my favorites. Warning was really good.
Yeah.
American Idiot was.
Yeah.
That's when I started going into like junior high, being a what do you call it? A teenager.
Right.
So American Idiot was like, I know a lot of people say, oh, that's not real punk and stuff like that. And
but see, it is though, right? Because there's different there's different styles of punk. I think they definitely fit into. They changed probably with American Idiot and on. They changed their style, but you can never say that Dookie and Insomniac aren't punk rock. It is. It's poppy punk rock at the fullest. The problem is the punk rock community, which I've never really been a part of. I like the music, right? The punk rock community,
gatekeepers,
they don't like it when you get signed. Yeah. Right? It's like, and I understand when people get upset, like if it's like, okay, so sellouts. The band, to me a sellout, a true sellout is somebody who changes their style for the purpose of getting signed to a mainstream label. Okay. That's a sellout, right? Okay. You're like, okay, I'm not making any money with this punk rock music, so now I'm going to start playing emo or I'm going to start playing whatever, right? And that's different, but to me, if you're playing punk, I mean, and Green Day never changed. I mean, they're still up there acting like punk. I mean, they did that Woodstock, the new Woodstock, where they had that big mud slinging fight up on the stage. I mean, they're punk rockers, right? And so now you're making millions of dollars doing what you love to do. Great. To me, that's fantastic. Like, I'm like, that's wonderful, dude. That's what. But like that whole community, right? Like that whole East Bay community totally shunned him, which was that song 86, which is on, I think it's on Insomniac, where he talks about that whole, that's what it's all about. What brings you around? Did you lose something the last time you were here? It's like the whole idea, like, he's like, I go back to my hometown and people are like, who are you? Get out of here, man. We don't like you anymore. Because now you're a sellout, So you've given me a reason to truly give that album. I love that album. Really? Yeah, I was gonna say that when you were saying it's not your favorite. I actually really love that album. I'm gonna give it a try, man, because I'll be honest with you, I have never given it a full go. It's a good one. I'll check. I really like it, and it's definitely got the pop punk sound of Dookie. For sure. I'll check it out, man. I don't know, for some reason it's like. Yeah. You just didn't like the owl picture. No, maybe. I don't know what it like. No, dude, it just seemed like the track listing. I don't know why. I think because I got the international super hits and I saw that there wasn't a lot of from that album, so I'm just making that connotation. What were the singles from that album? Like that's the thing. I don't think there was any. No, there was. Brain Stew and Jaded. Okay. Yeah, that one. What song is that? Jaded. No, that's Brain Stew. Is it really? Yeah, it's Brain Stew. My eyes are feeling like they're gonna bleed. Don't put it on because then I'm gonna DC copyright stuff. Yeah. No, I'm gonna see. Let's see. Insomniac.
On my own, here we go.
Yeah. No, isn't that Geeks? That's Geeks.
Yeah. Okay. On my own.
I think
here
so.
We go.
That could be the other one. Brain Stew. But that was another one. Yeah, 86 on there. Yeah, there's some good songs on here, dude. Walking Contradiction. That's one of their best songs ever.
That's a great song.
I love that one. So. But anyway, yeah, I love Green Day. If you've never heard Pinhead Gunpowder, so that's a band that I think they started around the time that Dookie came out, and they always stayed underground, still to this day. I mean, they've had multiple singers, which is kind of cool, because Billy Joe sings some. He's like and then there was a raspy singer, kind of a grovelier kind of guy, and they would sing together like in the same songs, which I thought was awesome. And one of the guys, I think he died. I think one of the singers ended up dying, and they had another. Some of the later albums sounds a lot like Green Day because he's like the only vocalist, and he's very unmistakable.
What was it called?
Pinhead Gunpowder.
Pinhead Gunpowder.
Yeah, I guess it was named after a tea, a kind of tea that they saw in some thing. It was Aaron Comet Bus. I think that's how you say his last name. I told you my favorite band is 15.
Yeah.
Well, they morphed out of a band called Crimpshrine, which started before that, which I also really like. And the drummer for Crimpshrine was Aaron Comet Bus, and then he was the drummer for Pinhead Gunpowder. Still is, I believe. Yeah. And I think he's even, I want to say he was the touring drummer for some huge band, and I can't remember who it was now. But he went on tour with some big mainstream band, and I can't remember who it was now. But anyway, dude, Green Day, I'm with you on that.
Okay,
that's definitely a favorite. I still go back to listen to those old.
Me too.
Those old ones, too. And there's a song on Kerplunk called Christie Road that's just one of my all-time favorite songs. I just put that on and to relax to it, you know.
It's good, man. Did you like their B-side and covers album?
Is that the Shenanigans?
Shenanigans. I enjoyed Shenanigans, man. A lot of the songs that that there was the Ramones song.
Outkast.
Yeah, Outkast. Yeah. For the longest time, man, because I didn't know 70s punk.
Not Outkast.
No,
Outsider. Sorry,
I'm an outsider. Yeah. For the longest time, I thought that was Green Day. How come people don't like this?
Right.
And then I heard you heard
the Ramones version.
I heard the Ramones. The Ramones are pretty good.
Yeah.
This is the song. So that's how I got into the Ramones.
Yeah.
And then the Sex Pistols. So my punk started with post-punk.
Right.
Green Day, American Idiot. Then that's when I had the internet at the house. So I started searching and stuff like that.
Right.
So it split into 70s punk rock, like British punk rock, like Sex Pistols and all that stuff. I love. It's a shame that they only had one album, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not big on the early 80s and 70s punk.
Okay.
I like it, but it's not. The 90s is better for me. Like there's some bands from back then. There's a band Minor Threat. I don't know if you ever heard Minor Threat.
They're seen their patches.
Washington D.C.
Okay.
Yeah, they only had one album too. Okay. But it rips, man. It's just straight up, and it's hardcore. I mean, it's epic.
I'll check it out, man.
It's very political. They were credited with starting the straight edge movement, which is no drinking, no drugs, no sex, no violence, right? Like all this,
What's
all this
the point
stuff.
of living?
Right. So they're kind of credited with starting that. But yeah, they're great.
I'll check them out, dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got into junior high and high school. So my punk rock splintered in the 70s punk, British punk,
right,
and then the 2000s and 2010 left New York, left leaning hardcore punk too, like Choking Victim.
Oh, okay.
Nice. What's the other one? Leftover Crack.
Oh,
so
yeah,
Leftover Crack for the longest time.
Yeah.
And
they're kind of ska-like too,
yeah,
right?
They're very ska-like, dude.
Yeah.
And this was like during the their politics was like when I was at that. I was young, so I was this and stuff like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah, dude, I remember reading this article that Leftover Crack was banned in New York because of their anti-American, stance. Mm-hmm. So Stitza? I forgot what the lead singer is like. Okay. I
don't remember.
So Leftover Crack played under a different name, Osama Stitzlan. So they got So.
Oh wow.
So one of their albums came out on 9/11/01, and the following album that they said from the guys who brought you the Towering Tumbles, the Towering
Tumbling Towers
on 9/11/01 comes after we're cracked. So they were very proud of that.
They released the album on that day.
On 9/11, not Tumbling Towers. That would have been like conspiracy.
Yeah,
right?
dude.
But they released one of their albums that is very left leaning on 9/11.
Okay.
And they're very proud of that.
Right.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
It's crazy, dude. So yeah, my punk rock was like left leaning. Like I loved it, dude.
Well.
Not that I agree with
it all
is.
I mean, that's kind of the punk rock stand. You know, it's funny though. So this leads me into something else, kind of related and kind of not. You just reminded me that who was it that made the point? Oh, do you know John Cooper? You ever listen to Cooper stuff? It's a podcast. He's a singer for a band called Skillet, and he has a podcast. It's very political. Okay. He's very right leaning. Yeah. But he was talking one time, and it really blew my mind. It was back when with everything with the vaccine mandates and mask mandates and stuff, you had all these bands that were like saying you can't come to our show unless you're vaccinated, or you like kind of pushing all that kind of stuff. And he was talking about that. As John Cooper was talking about, he goes, guys, do you realize what's happening? And he's talking about Rage Against the Machine. And he goes, Rage Against the Machine is saying that you have to be vaccinated at the door. You can't come in their shows. He goes, guys, do you see what's happening? He goes, Rage Against the Machine has become the machine. Oh! Right? He's like, these are the guys that 10, 20 years ago would have told the government to stick it. Yeah. Say, no, I'm not going to get a vaccine if you force me. You're not going to force me to stick something in my body. Yeah. No way. Now they're saying, you guys all have to do it. Right? They're trying to force. It's like, what in the world is going on? Right? It's like, so it's like the punk rock. I mean, not that Rage was really punk rock. I mean, they were in their ideologies. Yeah. Because their songs are very political and very left leaning. But for them to turn and just be like, trying to force people to do these things, it's like, dude, what happened to you guys? You know, it's like it's crazy when you start thinking about that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think the punk rock mindset in general is going to be very, because it's counterculture. It's screw the system basically is the whole mindset behind it. That doesn't mean every band's like that. But
no. But
the vast majority, I think, that's kind of their
punk
whole.
Punk is supposed to be counterculture.
Right, and all their lyrics are about uprising and fighting the system and all that kind of stuff. So, so back to what you're saying. So your earliest. Musical. Yeah, so Green Day. And then during middle school, I don't know if you recall the show Loveline. Yeah, with Dr. Drew,
Dr. Drew
Adam Carolla.
And Adam Carolla.
He's very political now.
Yeah. But I love listening. It was like 11 o'clock. It was something I listened to before going to bed and stuff like that. I didn't have it. We didn't have cable and stuff like that. So I remember from 9 to what have you, listening to that. And Coheed Cambria. Oh yeah, I think my brother-in-law has told me about that band. He loves those guys. I haven't heard a whole lot. Couple songs. It's kind of like Green Day, man. So really, kind of. So here's. I'm devoted. I was devoted to Coheed Cambria. Is that the sign? Yeah, that's their. Oh wow, that's hardcore. If you got a tattoo. 18 years old, bro. As soon as I turned 18, I was like, I'm getting a tattoo, and I'm getting Coheed Cambria. Nice. I felt, dude. Falling in love, obviously, but. With Coheed Cambria's records, I fell in love, man. Wow. It's kind of like we were talking about Rivers, how you were saying that he's intelligent, a good songwriter. He's a great songwriter, yeah. And then I made that quip when he was sad. Right. It's Coheed was like this too when Claudio Sanchez is the lead singer, the frontman of Coheed Cambria, and he's also doing the Coheed Cambria is conceptual. Their first 4 or 5 records is all a conceptual story. Right. So I fell in love with the story, which is cool. It's totally cool, man. When it makes sense, it's cool. When it makes sense. Like anytime a concept album I listen to, and I get to the end, like, what in the world is he even talking about? No. Like Tool's record, right? Oh yeah. Whatever. But I like Tool. Right. Coheed, dude. It's the first 5 records are about Claudio, the character, whose parents is Coheed Cambria, who were machines. Really? So it's like a sci-fi story, or what? It's a sci-fi opera. It's a sci-fi opera, and they have graphic novels that go along with the record. But lyrically, musically, the first 4 records, that's when I fell in love, man. Okay. Every song I would not skip. And I got my girlfriend at the time. It was our favorite band. But then, that's the problem with me. I made too much connotations with Coheed Cambria and my ex-girlfriend, so when the breakup happened, I do that. That sucks, man. I know. So I ruined Coheed for myself, and then I came back to it, and I do listen to it now that there's no connections, I listen to it, but they're like 4 or 5 records. The newer ones are kind of like because well, Claudio got happy, so he brought in his wife to make music and stuff like that. He's like, dude, I want to listen to you, and like,
I want you to remain in misery.
Yeah,
so you can make good music for me.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
Selfish, right?
Yeah.
The third record, it's Good Apollo 4 on Burning Star. Good Apollo on Burning Star 4, Volume 1, From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. Like, this record it's very meta too, because it's about him, the human being, writing as him, the human being, writing the characters. So it's very meta. It's about him writing the story from his perspective in the story. So it's very meta. Yeah, dude, it's very meta. And this record was brought upon because I think his wife either left him or cheated on him. If you ever get the chance, Wake Up is the most hauntingly beautiful, like, love song, but it's a love song that is like, you're already gone. It's like, oh my god, dude, chills.
Which album is this?
This is Good Apollo 4. Good Apollo on Burning Star 4. Yeah, just Good Apollo, because there's two parts to Good Apollo.
Okay.
Good Apollo on Burning Star 4.
I have to check that out.
Yeah. In that same album, there's also another song where he just completely, tears her to pieces, like lyrically and stuff like that. Like, this is a very angry record, like very hateful towards the breakup, and I get it, dude.
So couldn't you relate to that then, if you compare them?
But it was during that time we both loved that at the same time. So so it happened. We were fans of him at the same time.
Yeah.
You heard the song. There's one and only single that was on guitar.
Probably. I don't remember. I've heard like 3 or 4 songs.
Okay.
That
Welcome Home.
Brother-in-law. I wouldn't know the title.
Okay, sounds good.
I probably
maybe after this
it.
I'll play the riff. It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have, man. But yeah, so I got into the military. I kind of left. So rock at that music. Rock as a genre was just had too many. Well, essentially, because of the breakups, I was like, you know what? I kind of don't want to listen to rock.
Right.
I can't listen to rock. So I left rock for a long time, and then I get into hip hop, the mainstream hip hop, like your Drake, your Lil Wayne's and stuff like that.
Yeah, see, this is where you'll get into a realm where I'm actually very unfamiliar.
Okay.
So I love hip hop. I love, but there's very few newer artists that I know them by name.
Yeah.
Like Drake,
I
know his name. I know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, same thing. I couldn't tell you any of their songs. I work nights, a couple nights a week now, delivering pizzas.
Yeah.
And I'm like the oldest guy there, other than like some of the cooks and stuff. But I mean, I'm even older than them. But so it's all these young kids I'm working with, right? And they're playing all this stuff in the back. Yeah. And this one guy the other day, in fact, I texted my cousin after this. I said, dude, kids today, man, they don't know good music, dude.
I don't know, man.
Let me drop the name for you because, and I know this guy's really, really popular because I've heard his name before. Nope, not Post Malone. J. Cole.
Okay.
So he was playing a song. Yeah. And I swear, dude, I was cringing. It was so brutally bad.
Okay.
Like the guy was trying to sing.
Yeah.
Maybe he's an okay rapper, and I heard him kind of start rapping.
Yeah.
That was decent.
Okay.
But when he was singing, it was bad, dude. I mean, it was like Simon Cowell kick you off the stage in American Idol kind of bad, dude. Like William Hung bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say it because this guy's like, he's like, oh man, this is my favorite rapper. It's one of my favorite songs. I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, you don't know good music. But it's just different now, right? It's like
different,
it's like me saying that I think that I've told you before. I think 1991 is the greatest music year of all time.
You told me.
Right. So that's what I would say. But then I have a friend who's in his 70s that I hang out with often. And I would say that to him, and he just shakes his head and he goes, "You don't know what you're talking about, man." And he's like, "The '60s was the best, like classic rock era. You know, you had all that stuff back then. So it just depends on when you grow up, and I totally understand that. And it's like that cliche where it's like the parents always hate the kids' music, you know. And I always said I would never be that way. And it's not to say I hate everything that comes out now. There's new stuff that comes out now that I really like. In fact, newer guy, I think I told you about him, NF. He's kind of a newer rapper.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I showed you one of his songs or told you to listen to it or whatever. And I think he's fantastic. And he's new. I mean, he's only been around for, couple 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years. And I saw him live. That was one of the shows I saw in Portland. Was pretty epic. There's another rapper who's very political.
Technique?
Tom McDonald. Have you ever heard Tom McDonald?
No.
Dude, he gets into a lot of trouble because he's very anti-woke.
Oh, okay.
Very anti. He has a song called "Fake Woke," but he's He is like.
Is he the? And I'm not trying to be funny. Isn't he like the alt-right, like pro-white? Like, isn't he like?
No. Well, I mean, he's not. He is white.
Yeah.
But he's not like alt-right or pro-white.
Okay.
No, he's not like a supremacist or anything.
Okay, because there is a rapper that's. When you went that way, it's like anti-woke. Because there is a rapper who's like, a supremacist is like, well, I'll check out his music.
No, not at all.
Okay.
And
but he does have. Well, let me put it this way: he might have some songs that people might think are racist.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he says things like America's not systemically racist, and he says things like that. But of course, if you make that statement now, that means you are racist, right? Yeah. But yeah, he talks all. In fact, he's got a song. He even talks about things like police brutality against black people, and he understands that. Like but at the same time, he's not like
it's not
ridiculous about it, right? So he gets into some hot water, but it's funny because the whole conservative community is like latched onto him now because of his lyrics and stuff, even though he's not really a conservative. Well, it's kind of funny because the religious community is kind of latched onto him, but he, by no means is he. I mean, his music is very. I mean, it's explicit. I mean, he's got parental advisory stuff on his stuff, so it's not like it's Christian rap, you know. But it's the concepts that he's talking about that hit home for kind of the conservative, right wing, kind of that kind of Bible Belt kind of mentality. So I mean, I like all that stuff, but some of that new stuff, man, it's just bad stuff, dude. Or
my sister loves J. Cole, Mac Miller, all that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not into rap per se. I listen to anything. I'm mostly listening to podcasts, combat sports, and stuff like that. So if anything,
me too. Yeah.
But but if whatever's on, I used to be like you. There's no music other than rock. I don't want to listen to anything else. Rap sucks.
Right,
I think as you grow, you mature, you listen to everything. Yeah.
Well, in the new generation, I call it the new generation, probably your generation, because you're about 10 or so years younger than me, when I was younger, everybody had their clique, right? Yeah. And it was like, you had the country guys, you had the rapper guys, you had the punk rock guys, you had the heavy metal people, and it's like, and they never mixed.
No,
right? They just never mixed. And then everybody had what kind of music like? They'd say one thing.
Yeah.
What kind of music like? They'd say one thing. And now, and I think this is great.
Yeah.
Is like people like your age and younger are like, oh, I like pretty much like everything.
Pretty much everything. Because I think it's easier to listen to anything.
It is.
Yeah. So
right.
That's
and there was so many melds, right? Like mixes. You had when bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit and some of these bands started coming out where they were mixing hip hop with like new metal with rap and rock, and it's like good stuff, man. But I mean, but that I wrote this down a minute ago when you were talking about bands that were sad or whatever, depressed, and they made great music, and then they got happy, and then nobody liked them anymore. That's kind of what happened with like Stained. And Korn was kind of the same thing. Like they got like therapy and they got out of their depression, and then their music was more happy. And I was like, what is this crap?
Well, the guy from Stain went to country, right?
Yeah, Aaron Lewis.
Aaron Lewis, and I like his music. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great, dude. Yeah. He's fantastic. But I mean, I think that we were talking about, I told you in the email, like talking about like our 5 favorite albums. Like I think Stain's Break the Cycle is probably one of my top 5 favorite albums of all time. That's one with Outside and Fade and what's that popular Shoot. Yeah, the main single on there that everybody knows. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah. That's the one everybody knows. But yeah,
that's the only one I know. Man.
That's on that album. That whole album is just.
It's good. I'll have to check it out, man. I have to check it out. Yeah, dude. No, the only reason I know about Stain is because my friend who got me into Nirvana. So, completely. Before Coheed, huge Nirvana head. Nirvana head. Bleach is one of my favorite records. Yeah. Nevermind's really good too. But if you were to ask me what's the best Nirvana album there is, it's In Utero.
You think so too, huh?
In Utero.
See, I have a lot of people say that, and I think a big part of that is because Nevermind got so commercially overplayed, and almost every song was a single on the radio. I think that made a lot of people not want to like it as much. Like they didn't want that to be their favorite. But you have to admit, dude, like musically, Nevermind is just phenomenal. It just really is. Every song on the album is great. I love In Utero. Heart Shaped Box, one of my favorite songs. I love
Serve the Servants.
Serve the Servants is great. What was that? Dumb.
I think.
Dumb.
I love.
Great song. There's great songs on there, but I think overall, I think Nevermind and Bleach, same thing. Bleach has some great songs on it.
Yeah.
But dude, you can't touch Nevermind, dude.
Okay, so it is.
That's just epic.
Commercially, it was successful.
Right.
Every song on Nevermind is good too. I mean, who doesn't like Smells Like Teen Spirit? I'm sorry, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
One of the greatest riffs ever.
It's one of the, yeah,
for sure.
Come As You Are, dude. Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right.
But I agree. Maybe it is written musically better. I don't know. You know what? No, I don't think so. I have to push back. I think it's not that we think that it got so big that we don't want to like it because it's like
just
this
musically
stance.
And songwriting. You think In Utero is better?
I think yes. I think
okay.
And the themes. Not to say the themes in Nevermind weren't. There were a little bit more. No, In Utero is very angsty too. But I think In Utero was just more sad.
Yeah.
Much more sad. The themes were much more heavier.
Right.
Heavier. The riffs on Nevermind might have been heavier musically, but I think the overall theme, the thematical aspects of In Utero.
Yeah.
Just like I'm prone to sad music, so I'm attracted.
I kind of am too, in a sense. Yeah. Well, that'll be our first disagreement of the day, right there. We'll disagree on Nevermind versus.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that.
Sounds good. And sorry, dude, one more thing.
Go ahead.
Pinkerton, man. That's why I love Pinkerton. It's a lot more sad.
Right.
A lot more sad, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I tend to listen to Pinkerton. Is there's such a great breakup record, man. Breakup. Not all of Weezer's a lot of breakup music, but I think especially Pinkerton, man.
Right.
Jesus, Pinkerton had so many great songs, man.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, for sure. But it's not as good as the Blue Album.
If you were if you're like someone says, "Hey, put some Weezer on," you're gonna go with Blue Album because it's a lot more. It's fun. It's so fun, and not to say that it doesn't have sad aspects.
Yeah.
To it. Yeah. No.
And I think for me, there's something nostalgic about that album. I think so because it was the first one. I remember I was in high school. I think I was a junior, maybe a sophomore, when it came out, and a guy I knew at there. We each had a period where for whatever reason we didn't have a class. Like it was this weird thing where they didn't schedule us a class, so we just had this cut period I think it was like third period every day. So we just drive around and listen to music, and he had that. And that was the first time I ever heard it. That was the first time I also ever heard Sublime's 40 Ounces to Freedom.
Oh, okay, cool.
First time, and that blew my mind. I had never heard anything like that before. I was like, what in the world is this?
Okay,
right? Is it reggae? Is it hip hop? Is it rock? Is it punk? I mean, what is this? Every song is different.
Yeah.
Right? And he's got all the turntables and the scratches going on. I was like, dude, what is this?
Yeah.
And And I was so hooked on it. And I was like, dude, this is great, man.
Yeah.
And then that's another heartbreaker, dude.
Sublime, yeah. Dude, Rome, Rome, yeah.
If Bradley Knowles would,
sorry,
yeah. No, what's Rome? That's the new guy.
With Rome,
that's the new singer. When Bradley Knowles died, dang, dude, you just came out with that self-titled record, which was epic. I mean, I still like 40 Ounces better just because it's 40 Ounces. Yeah. But dude, I mean, that was like they really hit it big with that new album, and then
Heroin, right?
I think so, yeah. And from what I could be totally off here, but I think what I understand is that he had been clean for a long time, and then decided to celebrate went one time, gone.
Yeah.
It's like, you were just about. I mean, and I always think to myself, like, what would we have now? I know it's selfish to think about that. I mean, he's a friend and a family member, and they love him. But as a fan of Sublime, you're like, what would we have now? How many more albums would we have that could have built on that one and maybe been even better? You know, it's like, what kind of songs would we have right now?
I'll push back, man. I think there's a lot. So I think it happens for a reason. I think it's better like that for his legacy. Mm-hmm. Not that I wish anyone died or anything like that.
Right.
I want everyone, to live their maximum amount of lives that they have here on Earth. But dude, we have plenty of examples where folks who are still breathing making music, and we end up with Weezer. Yeah. So come back to the circle, man.
Oh no,
Weezer. We have who else is making music? Metallica. We'll have Metallica. Another.
Well, let's talk Metallica for a minute. So, okay, are you a fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you watch Stranger Things?
Yeah, no, I don't, but I know that they played Master of Puppets or something, so it got really big.
Well, there was a funny meme that was going around after that. Yeah, there's this epic scene where one of the characters he's playing Master of Puppets, and it's an epic album, right? It's great.
Yeah.
And it shows this picture of this kind of dorky looking dude, like a modern day dude, like now, right? And the quote, it wasn't a quote, but it was a meme, and it said, heard Master of Puppets on Stranger Things, went out and bought Saint Anger. Right, which is like arguably the worst Metallica album ever made. It's bad, dude. It's bad.
Okay.
It's bad. Here's why it's bad, because I don't know what he was trying to do with his vocals. Okay. But it was to the point where at one point I was like, did they get a different singer? Like, I don't know what he's doing with his voice. I understand he's getting older. I don't expect him to sound like he did on Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets or any of those old ones. But it was bad. And then when Death Magnetic came out after that... Great.
Yeah.
Back to his normal sounding voice, and I even liked the Hardwired, the new one. I thought it was great too.
I haven't checked it out.
It's good, dude.
But Death Magnetic, dude, when it came out again, dude, it was really good.
Yeah.
Unforgiven 4 is
3. Yeah, good one.
Really great, man. Really great, dude. But no, dude, I'll push back. Saint Anger itself as a single, great, man.
The guitars are okay, but the vocals are brutal.
The vocals are great too, man. It's exactly, brutal.
No, brutal in a bad way.
Oh, man. And there's another one too. That was another single. Live it or lie, yeah, I'm living or lie. I forgot what, but
I don't know the name of it.
It's a good song too. It's a good song. Yeah, but I'll push back. Saint Anger, but
best Metallica album. Go. See if you get this right.
I don't want to see it Ride the Lightning.
I wouldn't
say Master of Puppets.
No, I wouldn't say either one of those.
I know which one. The Black Album.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it is.
It's pop.
It's not pop.
It's pop.
Oh,
dude,
come on.
It's melodic, dude.
No.
It's not metal.
It is metal.
It's not metal.
You take. There's one poppy song on that whole album. It's nothing else matters, right? The rest of that album is metal, dude. Come on. That's a great album. That's one of those ones like with Nevermind, where people are like, that's where they got really popular.
Yeah,
all the
that's
songs.
That's where I'm coming from.
You know what I'm saying? But a true fan of Metallica has to admit the writing on that album was just hands down their best.
Yeah, it's good.
Now, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and
great,
Justice
man.
for All, they're fantastic.
And Justice for All, yeah.
Fantastic albums. But I mean, I think they hit their prime with the Black Album. That was just epic.
Okay, I'll give you that, man.
Yeah.
Do you know Whiskey in the Jar, right?
No.
Metallica covered. It's an Irish drinking song, man. You should check it out. It's it was
Metallica covered the song.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whiskey in the Jar. You should check it out. It's really
good. Right.
Yeah, the music video is pretty cool too. I remember on YouTube. I don't know how it got past the censors, but there was like, when we couldn't have porn, there was a lesbian scenes and stuff like that. And I think they showed some titties too. So that's pretty cool. Like, it just seemed like, that's the life of rock star. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one's rock stars anymore, man.
No.
Post Malone's a rock star.
You think so?
I think so.
Isn't he a hip hop artist?
Yeah, he's a hip hop artist, but like in the overall sense,
rock
like
star persona.
Like, persona, yeah.
Gotcha.
And he loves everything, man. He loves country. Oh, so that's what I wanted to say. I think how you were saying back then, people only said, I like rock, or I like rap, I like this. I think now, because of the internet too, since we don't have to pay for our music, we can either stream it or go on YouTube.
Yeah, we can steal it.
Back then, we had $20, right? Or your mom said, I'm
for an album.
For an album,
yeah.
So you have to make the decision.
Go down to Sam Goody or Warehouse.
Yeah. Or Best Buy. So you're like, I only have $20, so I can only spend it. Am I going to take a chance with a genre that I have no listen to?
Right.
Or do I just stick to my bread and butter? So I think that's why we were a little bit more regiment in our genres and our cliques.
Right.
Because now we can go on YouTube and say, I'll check that song out. It's pretty good too. So that's why we can all listen to anything.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, plus you got like Spotify and things like that where you just stream anything at any moment. You know. So, but see, I'm one of those weird guys who still like CDs.
I have. No, I don't have a CD player.
I'll show you when we're done here. I'll show you my CD
collection.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You'll be like, whoa.
I think the last CD was in 2012 that I bought.
What was it?
Country, Florida Georgia Line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a country guy, huh?
Yeah. So not no more. So here's the thing. Man. My Colombian friend, you know.
Yeah.
She got me into reggaeton, and I'm starting to get back into it. But country, a lot of the songs are sad. Like I said, I love sad music, and I only make that connection right now. So I haven't listened to any country. because I can't. It's just too heartbreaking. But I'm getting back into reggaeton, dude. But yeah. So for the longest time, since 2011, strictly mostly country. Yeah. Now I'm getting into reggae now too.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go watch Tribal Seeds when they're here. And
I don't know any reggae.
No,
I mean,
reggae?
I know like old stuff. I know Bob Marley.
Okay.
I know Ika Mouse is one of my favorites. That's probably pretty much it. Newer. I like Modest Yahoo when he came out.
Okay.
He was kind of cool.
Okay.
I mean, not necessarily reggae, but which one? Which one did you like?
The rap one, the one that was on MTV when MTV
King
started.
King Without a Crown, or
maybe it was like a black and white music video.
I never saw the video. There's a song on there called "Time of Our Song." I don't know if it was ever a single or not.
Okay.
But the first time I ever heard Modest Yahoo was he was featured on a couple songs on a POD album. What was the album?
Payable on Death?
Yeah. You know the band?
I know the band.
POD, yeah.
I don't like them.
No? They've gone through different styles too.
Yeah, I don't think I like them. No, yeah, I can say I don't think
I think
like
their Satellite album was pretty epic, but that wasn't. I think it's not The Awakening. Oh, I'm picturing it's got like a green cover. Anyway, on that album, he was in like 2 or 3 songs on there. And I heard him like, oh, this guy's really cool. And then I bought his first album, and I really liked that one.
Like it? Okay.
But I haven't heard a lot of his newer. I heard he's changed his style a lot, and I heard he's not even Jewish anymore. Like, he shaved his beard off, and he's like totally. But I don't know what the music sounds like. I mean, not that was ever a pull, but so. You
like Slipknot? Sorry.
I haven't heard a lot of it.
Okay.
And I like
new metal.
Yeah, I mean, and I like screamy stuff. Doesn't bother me. There's a band called Demon Hunter that's one of my favorite bands. It's got a lot of screamy. Under Oath is another band that I
like.
really
like.
Yeah. Their older stuff anyway.
Yeah. When they were like pre-emo and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think They're Only Chasing Safety was probably their best album. I know a lot of people say Define a Great Line.
Right?
It's pretty hardcore. Well, they have the drummer's a clean vocalist, Aaron Gillespie, and then Spencer, the main vocalist, is the screamer. But them together is just, especially when you watch them play live, where Aaron's playing the drums and he's got the microphone here, he's doing the singing, the clean, and Spencer's flying around screaming his head off, dude. It's epic. It's just so good.
I didn't check it out.
But then, so check out They're Only Chasing Safety because there's not a bad song on that album.
There's Only Chasing
phenomenal.
Safety?
They're Only Chasing Safety.
Only Chasing Safety.
Yeah, it's got a picture of a girl with the oxygen mask on her face.
I'll check it out, man.
Yeah, it's really good. And their 2 after that were good as well, but that one was...
Did you ever get into do you listen to today's rock? Like, not today's, maybe like 2015, 2012?
I listen to anything and that's one of the reasons I like to talk about music for this podcast, is that I'm writing down the things that you're telling me that I haven't heard.
Okay.
Because I listen to anything anybody tells me to check out. The other day, Cindy and I at work were talking, and she rattled off a bunch of stuff I'd never heard, one of which was a band called Girl in a Coma.
Yeah, she was telling me about that.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that. Dude, I started listening to that. That's some good stuff, man. That chick's got some pipes on her, dude. She's like, and it's good. I was like, this is awesome.
I think she was showing me they covered a Selena song.
Yes.
Yes.
They have a whole album of covers. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
In Spanish, they have Spanish covers, and it's really good. So anyway, to answer your question, whatever people recommend, I will go check it out.
Okay.
And if I like it, I end up buying it.
Okay.
Or I'll usually start at the beginning. Even if somebody tells me, oh, this is their best album, I'm the kind of guy, I always like to start at the beginning. I like to hear the progression. I like to hear how they change and they morph. And then eventually you get to a point where like, okay, this is their best album. And a lot of times the first one's the best just because it's like, I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because it's the first one you've heard or how that works, but
nostalgia maybe.
Maybe, yeah. And that always plays in, right? Like who you're with, what you're doing when you're listening to certain songs. I mean, for sure. I mean, there's
A7X?
I don't even know.
Event Sevenfold?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that's what they called. Yeah. I actually have a CD. I have a bunch of, when my father-in-law passed away, I got all his CD collection.
Yeah.
And that was in there. One of those. Yeah, I haven't actually listened to it yet.
Take a look at it, man.
I have a lot of CDs to go through. So it's it's quite a project.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Oh man.
The last album that I remember was Nevermind. No, that's
Nirvana.
Nightmare.
Oh, okay.
It was when Jimmy the Rev, their drummer, I think, either suicide or overdose. So that
he died?
next record, So Jimmy the Rev, the drummer, that album was dedicated to him. One of the saddest, brutal. but like really clean vocals and stuff like that. And when he does do a little bit of screaming, it's not like the guttural, like emo. It's like authentic screams in guttural.
Nice.
Guttural, man. Victim is a good song.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Avenged Sevenfold you're talking
Avenged
about?
Sevenfold, man.
What's the name of that album?
Nightmare. And the whole record's good too, but and it reminds me of the second song off that record. I forgot what it was called, but it reminds me a lot of Master of Puppets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that song specifically reminds me of Master of Puppets. But yeah, man, check it out. If you have to, Victim is so sad. Just knowing
that's the song.
Victim is the song because my father passed away too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
how long ago?
When I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
So, and there's some stuff. That record, that album, yeah, it's about Jimmy the Rev, but I think it's like anytime you had someone leave you,
right?
You know,
it becomes personal.
It becomes like, yeah, like you're a victim. Like I forgot what the lyrics say. You're not the only victim here, or something like that. You know, the theme is, yeah, you did what you had to do because you were a victim, and then the circumstances like that. But when you did that, it's like you left other victims behind. You know, it's very sad, man. Very powerful. Yeah. Very powerful.
That was something that I remember my son, my older son, the one you, not the one you met, the older one, who's 20 now. He went through a phase where he was dealing with some hard things. And I remember he heard, I want to say it was at a youth group or something. He heard some message where they were talking about suicide, and they were talking about how, I forgot the way it was worded. Something like that, like something like saying you need to realize that you're not the only victim of suicide, right? Like you're destroying the lives of everybody who loves you and cares about you, and that really hit him. And he told me at that point, he's like, yeah, so it's never gonna happen. He's like even if I get to those low points and I even consider that looking down that road, he's like, no, I'll think about my younger brother, I'll think about my parents, I'll think about my grandparents, I'll think about, you know,
that's what I think about all the time. Man. Well, not that I think about suicide all the time.
Right. Yeah, but if you ever do, man, give me a call. I'll talk you down off the ledge.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna ever do it because it's I'd rather just deal with it, you know, because at some point I think there is light, sunlight
always,
will come.
Always.
Again, you know?
I've been through, I struggle with depression and anxiety pretty much my whole life, and I've had some bad downers.
Me too,
big
man. Me
time.
too.
And that's what I need to remember whenever I get into one of those is I think, I've been in this before.
Yeah.
And then I get to a point where I'm glad I'm out of it and I'm enjoying life again. And you need to remember that. It's hard to remember that when you're down in the depths, but it has to be remembered because you'll get there again. You know what I mean? Even if it seems like the deepest, darkest hole you've ever been in, you know, it's like you're gonna come out of it.
Yeah,
every time. So
every time, man.
Right.
And every time when I get to those low points, it's like, I think I'm good to go. I think if you just want to take me, I'm good to go.
Right.
But man, I think we've all been there, dude. Thought about it
to some extent. I think, right? It's just like anxiety. People say sometimes when I talk to people about my anxiety disorder and stuff, and I've done therapy.
Yeah.
I've read up a lot on it. I know a lot about it, and experiential and knowledge based.
Yeah.
But people say, oh yeah, I get that. I get anxious. It's like, everybody gets anxious, right? You're driving down the freeway and some big rig almost runs you off the road. You pull over, your heart's racing, your hands are sweaty, you're shaking. Of course, right? That's normal. You're supposed to experience that if you almost die, right? That's a normal experience. I'm talking about a disorder, which is when everything's great. The birds are chirping, the sun's shining, everything's fantastic, and you're getting hit with these weird anxiety symptoms that you just can't shake. You know, it's like that's what makes it a disorder. Yes, everybody experiences anxiety. Everybody experiences sadness. Not everybody goes into a 2-month-long depression where they don't want to leave their house or talk to anybody. That's not normal, right? That's not a normal experience that everybody has. But it's like, I've had depression before when my mom passed away. No, you were sad because your mom passed away, and it took you a while to get over that. Totally normal, totally expected. That's normal, right? But people that suffer from manic depression is like, there could be nothing going wrong in your life at all, right? All your friends are still alive, your parents are alive, everybody, and then you're in this funk where you're like, I just want to die. You know, it's I really have no reason to want to die, but I do, you know, and it's like, what in the world? And you know, my unluckily, I've passed that down to my children, my hereditary anxiety and depression and stuff. So my children have dealt with some of that, and but I feel kind of more equipped to
help them,
counsel them through it, right? Because it's like, oh, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. I know, not exactly, of course. But you never want to say that because they're like, no, you don't. You don't know exactly what I'm. But anyway, but before we move on, I think we're ready to move on to politics now. And
something lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. We said we'd start off with music, which is supposed to be the lightest, but we got pretty deep in there, man. It's pretty deep. But before we go there, I want to ask you a very deep question. Okay. Why in the world haven't you seen Stranger Things, dude? It's the greatest show ever made.
I'm one of those people, man, and it's the same thing with Breaking Bad. Everyone tells you,
never seen it, but do you think I look like Walter White? Because
dude,
so many people have told me,
Heisenberg.
Even before I knew who that was, they come and say Walter White, right? I'm like, no, Ryan, actually. Who's Walter? Oh, Breaking Bad. You look just like the guy from Breaking Bad. What? And I have multiple people tell me that I don't even know, and they don't know each other. It's not like they put each other up. Hey, go tell that guy looks like, weird, dude. Look like Walter White.
Check it out. It's one of the best shows ever. But I'm one of those. I'm one of those people who's like, wow. Same thing with the Dungeons and Dragons show on HBO.
Okay.
Whatever.
I don't know that one.
Game of Thrones. Dungeons and Dragons.
I've never seen that either.
Me either.
Yeah, but you like Breaking Bad because you relate. I mean, because you also have a meth lab in your house, right?
Of course, man. Because I'm Mexican. Of course. Oh, he's brown.
He's not. Hey, he wasn't. Walter White's not Mexican. His last name's even White. Come on, man.
Dude.
You don't get any whiter than that.
Here's the thing, man. When I experience racism, you can't tell me my experience of that racism is wrong, because no, it is racism. What you just did was racism.
It depends.
It was violent. It was violence too.
Okay, so let's go into that then. Well, we'll skip over the fact that you haven't ever watched the greatest show ever made.
Stranger Things, really?
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
Come on,
fantastic.
Dude.
So
what do I do this to kids?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. So you might not quite appreciate it like I do, because it takes place at a time when I was their age, right? So all of the cars and the music and the atmosphere and everything that they're doing, the games they're playing, it's me when I was growing up, right? And my friends and the way we were. And I mean, of course, none of us had special powers. But that aspect of it. So I could see maybe somebody your age maybe not getting that aspect. So to you, it would just be like a sci-fi horror kind of show, which is good on its own. But the reason I think it hits me so hard is because it's just... it's nostalgic for me. It's great.
Before you go into I know what you're talking about. There's these YouTube channels where it's like hours upon hours of like commercials and I sometimes just put it on and like commercials from the 90s, or sometimes it gets really specific. Commercials from this channel on May 2nd, 1993. It's like, what were they advertising? I love seeing the old McDonald's. It's like, because I remember seeing that as a kid too. It's like the Toys R Us commercials. Yeah, so I get the feeling. Yeah. It takes you back.
Totally.
It takes you back.
Totally.
So I get that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so systemic racism.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Let's hear your take.
It's real, man.
It's real,
and we got to work hard.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. It's hard to tell.
See, that's what I like.
I think you are. I think you are being sarcastic, but I can't tell. Now, keep in mind, I'm not asking you if you think racism exists. No. Systemic racism.
That's a good question, man. If you want an honest answer, I don't know if it exists or not.
Well, just so we're clear on our terms here. So when I say systemic, I'm talking about something that's in the system.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you look back in the pre-civil rights days, you had restaurants where black people couldn't eat and things like that, right? To me, that's systemically racist. Jim Crow laws, right? So all that is built into the fabric of the country. So the question is, do we still have that today? Well,
if you're defining it like that, legally speaking, no, the answer's got to be no. Because what kind of would create up a system where they're injecting racism in its system?
Right.
That in and of itself will be racist. But is there situations where, as a brown or black guy, if they were going to a loan, would the bank be more willing to loan a black person or a brown person same credit score as maybe some Caucasian with a lower credit score? Maybe. I think that kind of racism kind of exists. I think it kind of exists.
But see, do you have any examples of that, or are you just assuming that?
Well, I'm sure I can find statistics if...
How can there be statistics with something like that? Here's why. because what you're doing is so if it's like we were talking yesterday with the female in the workplace. It's like if you have a situation where there's a bank guy and you just say there's a black guy or a brown guy walks in and he asks for a loan. And let's say here's your statistic, or here's the facts that you know. Let's say you know that the black guy's more well off financially, and you know that the white guy's less well off. And the only facts you have is the black guy walked in, didn't get the loan. The white guy walked in and he did. And that's all the facts you have. So from just that, you have to like assume the bank guy's motives behind why he gave one guy the loan and why he didn't.
But you'll never know
correct. Correct. That's my point. So how can we jump to one side or the other if we will never know?
I understand. Okay. Totally understand. But what we do have is the fact that he didn't get the loan and the other did. So,
but that's irrelevant if we don't know why.
But that's a fact.
It could be because he looked at the guys. Maybe the guy is more well off.
We won't know.
Maybe he doesn't have a job.
We won't know.
And the other guy did. Right.
We won't know.
So then
what we do know is the outcomes, brother.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
But it does.
Not at all.
Because
it doesn't matter at all.
And the other guy did.
No, it doesn't matter at all. That's like looking at a crime situation where you say this guy got arrested, right, and the other guy didn't. Okay, and let's say they were both at the same shopping mall, and we don't know what happened. We don't have the details. All we know is the end outcome, like you said. We know that this guy got arrested and this guy didn't. That's irrelevant to us. But we don't care.
Are they doing the same crime?
We don't know. That's my point.
But let's say that we do know.
Well, you can't in the example because the example of the bank, you don't know anything about those two guys.
I know the outcome.
Right. So you know, but you also know the outcome. You know the outcome of the one guy got arrested and one guy didn't. That's the outcome. But you don't know why. You just know that one guy got arrested and one doesn't.
No, because that's different. Because we have so here's the two situations that we have. We have the bank and we have the mall, right? What we do know is we have the motives of the two people, the black guy and the white guy, going into the bank. They both want a loan.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we know the situation of that.
Sure.
And then they walk out. Only one of them got the loan.
Correct.
Now, on the other hand, we have two criminals, a black guy and a white guy.
I didn't say criminals.
No, but let's do it like this.
Okay, so you're changing the example then.
Well, to make the analogy a little bit more.
Well, when you say criminal, do you mean that they were previously convicted criminals, or that whatever they did at the mall was criminal activity?
Let me expand on your example then of the two people getting arrested. Well, there's police were called. We could look at
something happened at the mall.
Something happened at the mall, and then we'll find out because they'll either release body cams or there's police reports, phone calls were made or whatnot, whatever. We'll have the evidence to suggest. We won't have the evidence because it's confidential for financial reasons. But the thing.
That's my point.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So we'll know the what happened at the mall, right?
Right.
Two criminals. Let's say for the sake of argument, there's two criminals, white guy and one black guy. Who's more likely to get arrested if they both get caught and charged? I think it's the black guy. I think the statistics show that there's seven times more for the same crime.
Okay, but so there's a bunch of things going on with this. People tell me that all the time. That statistics show. Statistics show, you're right, that more black men are arrested than white men.
Yeah.
That is true.
For the same crime.
No.
Marijuana dealers for marijuana dealers?
Here's the deal.
Okay.
I'm always open to correction.
Okay.
Show me those stats.
Me too.
Show me those stats.
I don't have them on hand.
I know you don't have them now. I'm saying find them for me,
I'll try.
And I will stand corrected.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, that's not the case. They are arrested more, and it seems like a what's the word?
Imbalance?
Unbalance, right? Imbalance. Especially when you look at the fact that, black people are a minority in this country, right? There's less black people than there is white guys. So then they say, well, how come more black people are getting arrested than white people? And they say, well, obviously it's because the system's racist. And that's the conclusion they come to, right?
Wow.
But could there be any other...
No, I think there's other reasons too.
Other possibilities. I'm not saying that we can say, oh, this guarantee this. But I think if we look at the facts, we look at the statistics... And could it be, and again, I'll get slammed as a racist for even making this statement. I'm just saying, could it be possible that more black people are committing more crimes than more white people are? Is that even a possibility? And if that's true, then that's the reason why more are getting arrested. Now, if you can show me stats that show that a white guy and a black guy are committing the exact same crime, and in all those situations, more black guys are getting arrested, then I would stand up with you and say, you are absolutely right. That is totally racist, because if it's the same crime, I don't care what color you are, you should be getting the exact same punishment for that.
I'll try and get the statistics, and then if I can't find them, then I'll stand corrected as well too. Yeah, I love conversation.
I'll even sit corrected. You know, I mean, I'll sit or I'll stand corrected. Either way, I mean, I'll be corrected, right? I will receive correction.
That's not true, man. Because if you were a person that wants to, grow and stuff like that, you would wear your mask. You would wear your mask. Like I am.
Make me choke on my chai, dude.
Like I am, So
right, like you are right now. Yeah.
So let's not pretend that you want to be a better person. Because if you did, you'd do your part.
It's amazing how clear your voice sounds, even though you're wearing that mask. That's fascinating to me. You've really perfected the art of that, dude. That's awesome. That's really, really cool.
I did my part, man. I just want others to do their part. I'm tired of bearing all the responsibility on my shoulders,
right?
And I just want like we were talking about, everyone do their part. We'll be out of here, man. We'll be out of here.
What was it? 10 days to slow the spread?
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks, slow the spread.
If we just do our part for 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. It's all my fault that we're still in this mess.
Yes,
because I've been rebelling since day one.
Yes. You know what kills me during that time period too?
Not COVID.
We're getting canceled, man.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's expected. It's expected.
What kills me during that time was the people who were like, "Oh, you gotta wear your mask. You gotta wear your mask." We would go into Target, and then the same people that we gotta wear a mask are the ones that have it right here.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, what are we doing, guy? Or underneath their nose, like, then what are we doing, guy?
Right.
We're not.
Yeah. Well, you're preventing the spittle from flying from your mouth, but you still have droplets that come out your nose.
Yeah. And you can intake it yourself too at that point. So
right.
Let's just drop the pretense. Stop.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Cool. Well, we jumped right into the racism question. Let's. So where, like, I know you say you don't.
Oh yeah. So
you don't hold to the left or the right, but you must lean a certain direction.
I would say I'd lean. I don't know if you saw that picture about Elon Musk, and don't get me started on Elon Musk.
Well, you hate African American immigrants.
When did I say that?
Well, if you don't like Elon Musk, he's an African American immigrant.
Oh my God, he's South American. No, come on, bro.
Is he African? Is he American? Is he an immigrant?
Oh, you sound like the left, man.
I couldn't pass on the joke. It's a joke, but it's true. It's a true joke.
It's true. Yeah.
Right?
You sound like the left.
So anyway, sorry.
No, you're good, man. He shared something that showed like 3 stick figures, one on the left, one on the center left, or on the left, and there's a right, and there's like the one on the second person in the middle, in between both the right and the left, is like, this is me. And then jump a couple years later, the left has gone far left, and the right has gone hasn't moved. It's been right. It's stayed at the same level of rightness that it's been. Except I haven't moved either. Except that the left is now farther away from me.
They've moved away from you.
Yeah. So now it appears that I'm closer to the right. Yeah. So
that's a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I would consider myself center left.
Okay.
Maybe a leftist myself too. But I am pro-military. I am pro-America. Well, now I'm getting canceled. You say pro-America.
No, you can't be on the left if you're pro those two things.
There's this big meme. It's ironic. It's like it's Chuck Norris's, and it says, "You can't be you're either a liberal or an American. You can't be both, sweetheart," or something like that. Dude.
Yeah.
It's ironic.
That's not like the classic Chuck Norris quotes where it says things like, "What does it say? They found a cure for cancer. Chuck Norris's tears. Only problem is Chuck Norris has never cried."
Never cries. Oh my God. Yeah. So to answer your question, man, left. I would consider myself socially very left too.
Okay. Explain that. Like, what do you mean? Like, what kind of left leaning policies do you?
Yeah. So I'm I'm an ally of the LGBTQ community, or like Ben Shapiro says, the LGBTQ plus minus
pi symbol, squiggly line,
ampersand.
Yeah, ampersand. Yeah.
No, but I am part. I'm an ally, and I am part of myself of that community too. I have ex-girlfriends that are trans, and we'll get to that issue of trans. I don't like how Matt Walsh says it, transgenderism.
Well, we're going to talk about Matt's movie, because I know you had seen it before,
yet.
right? But you know what it's about.
I know what it's about.
So yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that.
So I have had trans girlfriends in the past, and they're the most girliest girls. And I know that it's not supposed to be like, oh, you can't. Why are we still gendered? Why does everything have to be gendered? Like, why do they have to be girly girls, or why do we have to be men? So that's one issue that I'm leftist. What else? I do think that the government ought to help out the people. I mean, it's our money. Why, give it back to us? If that's all you can do, at least just give us back our money, or stop taking it as much.
You think that's a left-leaning policy?
That
the government should help at all, or? Because I think people on the right would say the government has a job to do.
It has a job to do.
I think the left thinks there should be more, like the government should take care of everything, like more so like almost like people shouldn't even have to work, and the left should just
not that far.
Or the government should just pay for everything for them, and they should be able to live in luxury. But
I think that's a straw man. I think you'll be hard pressed to find true leftists that are like that, and I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll find Marxists and communists like that. Yeah. But I think your run-of-the-mill liberal or everyday liberal, I don't think they're as far.
You're probably right. No, you're probably right.
And the same thing on the right. I don't think your everyday
right. Is an alt-right white supremacist.
Yeah, is an alt-right white supremacist. I think they're just the loudest on the voices and stuff like that, so it's easy for us to attack and create strawman arguments.
Right.
But yeah, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a far left Marxist on your everyday encounters, Yeah. I think so. And the same thing as
I think you're right.
As a MAGA person, stuff like that. I think you'll be hard pressed to find the ultra MAGAs, or like what did Biden say? The ultra MAGA? The ultra MAGA. I was like, the Democrats have a what do you call it? Messaging problem.
Right. So I heard you say at work the other day of the year. Were you serious about DeSantis 2024, or? Are you a DeSantis fan?
So going back, I don't know. It just seems so. I now know why a lot of people voted, or think I can understand why a lot of people voted for Trump back in 2016. They see these swamp monsters just taking your money, and not providing for your government.
Right.
And you know what? Let's just throw a hand grenade. Even though I believe Trump was a traditional conservative, he got judges on the Supreme Court and on the federal court, which every conservative has done in the past. That tax bill that he passed in 2017 that helped, that it was like a tax cut for the rich. So all of his stuff wasn't populist. He had the. So that's what I consider myself. I'm a populist.
Okay.
I don't know if you know of like Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty.
Is that a girl?
Crystal Ball is that
her real name?
Yeah, Crystal Ball.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think you'll like them. They're the ones on the left and the ones on the right.
Okay.
They used to be on the hill.
Okay. Yeah.
So they used to be on the hill, but they went on YouTube, and now they have the Breaking Balls. Sagar and Jetty is like a center right person, and they're both populist, and they're and what do I mean by say populist? It's just like, I believe in the $15, I believe in a livable wage. I believe that government ought to help its people.
So you believe in making the minimum wage higher?
Yeah.
You personally believe that?
Yes.
Or are you saying that's what they believe?
No, I believe in it. I believe in a livable wage. I believe in a livable wage. I know what you're going to say. Okay, sounds good. So if we do have to provide a liberal minimum wage, or an increase on minimum wage, then the consumer is going to pay for it, or we have to cut some people.
Well, I mean, that's part of it, but I would say that I also believe in a livable wage. Yeah. But I also think that there's certain minimum wage jobs that are starter jobs for kids that are still living with mom and dad. They're still, or they're going through school.
Yeah.
Now, I think for you and me, who are grown men who are trying to provide, I mean, in my case, trying to provide for my family, then I think I should have a livable wage. I don't think I should have to be delivering pizzas 2 nights a week, and my wife works full time either.
I agree.
I agree with you there. But the problem is, if you start giving, the kid working at McDonald's when he's 15 years old, you're paying him as much as you are
Labor's labor, brother.
the guy. Yes and no.
Labor.
Yes and no.
Labor's
But the problem is then, like what you were saying, you're going to have all the price of food's going to go up.
But they're going up regardless, man.
Well,
the prices have gone up regardless.
That's because of your buddy Biden, man.
Whether it was Trump or him, dude.
We didn't have that problem with Trump.
But prices were increasing, man. After 2008, dude, I remember I loved going to the dollar menu on McDonald's or Burger King. We don't have that anymore, man.
Yeah, now it's like $1.29.
$1.29. Or sometimes $2 for 29. So what I'm saying is, like, the prices are going to increase regardless.
Prices are going to increase, but that's different than inflation. Right?
True,
like inflation and price. I mean, of course, you can go back to whatever 1942 and a house, you could get a house for $10,000 or something. You can't even buy a car for $10,000 now. So of course the prices are going to go up, but inflation is something altogether different when you're talking about the supply and demand and all that stuff when you start screwing with that. And I just think that if you change the minimum wage to be that of the same wage as someone who is put in more time and more work and that kind of thing. I'm not saying that we should pay the 15-year-old kid nothing. And so make it worth his time, but I mean, he shouldn't be able to buy a house and a car because
that's
he's 15.
The American dream, dude.
No,
that's the
American dream is you work yourself up to that.
Yeah, but
you start low and you build yourself, and then you get to the point when you can do those things. Yes.
But when it's going to happen, it's not going to happen no more. It's hard.
Then that's a problem.
Here's the thing.
That's where I would agree with you. If that's not happening for somebody in their mid-20s, early 30s, or whatever, then I would agree that that's a problem that needs to be fixed.
So there's a joke right now within my generation and the generation before, millennial and Gen Z and stuff like that we're waiting for the economy to crash. That way we can afford a house. Even though interest rates are still going to be at 5% from here on out, it's still going to be hard. So it's a sad state of affairs where you have people like me, my generation, who are wishing for another housing bubble to explode so we can afford a house. And that's what's probably going to have to happen. I think we're in a recession right now. I know the technical term is you have to wait 2 consecutive quarters of slow economic growth, so we won't know until quarter 3. But I think we're in a recession now. It's a sad state of affairs where I have to wish for that to happen, for me to afford a house, because for that to happen, someone has to have had to lose their house for me to be able to purchase a house.
Correct.
Yeah, that's sad. Yes. How can you say that's sad, dude?
Yeah, but I mean,
that's sad.
It might be. It's sad, but I mean, it's similar to saying, like, and I'm not trying to blanket all homeless people here. Yeah. But if you have a homeless person, let's say who got that way because they got hooked on drugs or whatever the case may be, they made bad choices. Yeah. Is that sad? Yes. Yeah. Totally sad. But sometimes you have to deal with the consequences of your actions.
True.
And does that mean that they should have the same living as someone who made the right decisions and didn't get on drugs and did their life right, quote unquote right? Right. I mean, I'm talking from a financial perspective and just a
human life is human life is human life.
I agree.
Human life is human life.
Whether a rich guy dies or a poor guy dies, I agree with you. But we're talking about choices made. Yeah. Right. I'm not talking about somebody who, to use that same example, a kid who's born into drug addiction. Yeah. Let's say his mom's a drug addict and he's born that way. Yeah. So he's a drug addict. I mean, that's different. That's not his fault, you know, but I mean, if it's somebody who's making that decision themselves, I'm not saying we shouldn't help them. I'm not saying we should throw them under the rug and say, oh, you made bad decisions. I hope you die. Yeah. I'm just saying that there's a benefit to making the right decisions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with living your life in a good way because you made the right choice as opposed to somebody who didn't.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to be crucified for making wrong decisions. I don't either. I think a government has like I said, needs to help its people and create systems where you can have the person who made the quote unquote wrong decisions an opportunity, an avenue, provide an avenue for
I totally agree with you. 100%. I'm just saying that shouldn't come at the cost of the person who made the right decisions. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think there should definitely be government assisted for the people that want it, because where we work, we deal with a lot of the homeless, a lot of schizophrenics, a lot of people that are on drugs. A lot of them aren't going to want that. They want their drugs is what they want, right? But I think, yes, there should be government programs where we come in and we hopefully get the people off the drugs, we get them cleaned up, we get them
But I don't want to condemn them for that, man, because I'm not virtuous myself either. I have my own vices. Alcohol.
I didn't say condemn them.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'd be a hypocrite. It's like, oh, they have their choice of vice. Well, yeah, I have mine too.
Right.
You know? But
yes,
just provide them an avenue where.
But if someone came to you and they said, okay, hey, we're going to help you out of your alcoholism. Yeah. And you said, oh, thank you so much. Yeah. I need it bad.
Yeah.
Please help me.
Yeah.
Then I'd say, great.
Yeah.
But if you said, screw you, I don't need your help. I love my alcohol. Get away from me.
Yeah.
How much should the government pursue that person and force them into their program? That's all I'm saying. That person's making that choice. Now, a family can make an intervention, and I have friends that struggle with drug and alcohol abuse, and we've done interventions, and we've gotten them in programs, and they go in and out, man. Yeah. Because until they truly decide, and I'm not saying it's easy. Yeah. It's the hardest decision for anybody if you're addicted to anything to make the decision to get away from it.
I think we're looking at this on the individual level.
Right.
On the individual level, yeah, there it might be lost causes, but I think we have to look at it at a cultural level, man. There's something culturally rotten in our society where we have to look for escapism, alcohol, drugs, what have you. There's something wrong in our culture. So what that is, I don't know. Maybe,
I do.
Don't tell me it's a lack of God in our.
We'll get to that when we talk about spirituality.
Sounds
my friend.
good. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe. Maybe it's something. There's definitely something. I'm a political science political scientist in my bachelor's program, which is poli-sci. I agree with Ben Shapiro. Poli-sci is not a degree. It's not a science. I agree. It's the stupidest thing. I should have gone into banking, but I'm not of. No, I don't want to go that joke. I'm not doing that joke. You and I know that's no. Okay.
Right.
But what was it? Yeah. So Habermas. You're some German political scientist or political thinker. Habermas. Habermas
not
says.
Gary.
What happened?
Gary Habermas?
No, I don't think it's Gary Habermas. Okay. Younger Habermas or something like that. Anyways.
I only know Gary, dude.
So he came out. So. A society to function, and if I recall, I might be, I'm around the ballpark, but a society to function, it has to have discourse. So one of the informal discourse locations, so your pub, your bar, and stuff like that, where people can come and congregate and discuss the politics, like the beer halls and stuff like that. How do people connect with one another? It's the language, or it's the culture, or there's some unifying thing. There has to be some unifying thing for a society, for a nation of peoples to thrive, to be successful. I think part of the reason why we're not successful, quote unquote, is because we don't see each other as Americans. We see each other as Trumper or woke, or we see each other at us versus them. There's nothing unifying us. We can't even agree.
And that's getting worse.
And it's getting worse. And it definitely, so there's the split is getting worse.
Right.
We can't even say we're American anymore because there's some people that don't. I'm not American. I'm myself, and America is bad and all that stuff.
Right.
And then you have the super people that you condemn America for its wrongdoings. Like, oh, you're a communist now.
Right.
It's getting too
divided.
Yeah. There's nothing unifying us. So back then he was saying it has to be something. It's either got to be the language or a religion. I think or something to that effect, to a religion, but there has to be something unifying, and I don't think there's anything unifying us right now.
Well, even like patriotism could be a unifier, assuming that everybody feels, at least the majority feels the same way about the country.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's a lot of people that hate America now, and again, it's like saying, if I say I love America, someone on the other side, right? Someone on the other side of that says, "Oh, then you love everything about it."
Yeah, it's like
no, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying that I think America's never made any bad decisions or that the government always does the right thing. Yeah. No, the government makes really bad decisions, and there's lots of things about America that are wrong.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the idea of America the policies, the foundation of America, the whole thing of it is still to this, and I'll still stand by the statement that it is the best place to live right now. I think so too. Yeah. By far, right? Does that mean we're perfect? Oh. No, of course not. Does that mean there's no issues to work through? No. Of course not. Yeah. But
there's nothing unifying in there, Mark.
Well, there's not as much that I think there's, and this is where I think the polarization is happening, right? You have
social media, man.
Well, that too, but I mean, you have, because of the way that people are viewing things now, and the hatred that goes from one side to the other side because they view something differently. That's the problem, dude. It can't just be, and that's one of the reasons I want to do this podcast, because I think it's important for people like me and you who can disagree and sit down and just discuss it like rational people.
You
and we could throw jokes around like that and laugh at each other.
That was a joke?
Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly, right? So, but I mean, just to have these conversations, and I'm totally fine with somebody disagreeing with me, and that's not a problem, right? Yeah, and there's people like us. Yeah. There are people like us. But for a lot of people, it's like, if you believe differently than me, I hope you die. Yeah. Like, right? Like when you saw this with a lot of the elections and stuff.
Yeah.
Like somebody posted during the 2020 election when it came out that Biden had won, but then it said the number of people that had voted for Trump was something
47,000
something million.
It was a lot of people who voted for him too.
It was like some million. I thought it was like 20 something. I'm probably way off on the number. No, maybe 200 something million. Anyway, he lost, right? But he had a lot of people that voted for him. So somebody had posted on Facebook, somebody I know. He said, well, let's say the number is 287 million, just for the sake of what I'm about to say. I could be totally wrong there. But for the sake of what I'm saying. He's posted, well, apparently there's 287 million white supremacists in our country, implying that anybody that voted for Trump is a white supremacist. And there's people that believe this. Like, just the act of voting for Trump instead of Biden means that you hate anybody who's not white.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy to me. But to some people, that makes total sense to them. They're like, well, of course, if you're not white supremacist, how could you have voted for Trump, who is also a white supremacist? That's their thinking, right? And it's like, dude, like, that's nuts to me. Like, that makes no sense, right?
Which is ironic, because in 2020, Trump saw a bigger increase of the Hispanic vote and black people vote.
Right. Yes. And even now you're looking at how much of the minority communities are backing away from Biden.
Yeah. The last poll, and I can't recall which poll or who did the poll, but it had less than 20% of those who identify Hispanic, Latino. They've moved away from Biden, man.
Right.
There's a lot of people, Right. But people don't get that. They see MAGA or Trumpism as a dog whistle for racist stuff. And let's be honest, some people were racist.
Some people were racist, right? Yeah. Which, like, even I'm not a Trump supporter, first of all. Yeah. But if I was, and I wanted to wear a MAGA hat, I wouldn't now.
No.
Just because of what it's become. Yeah. It's become a symbol of racism, even though I don't think it was never meant to be that, but because of, for my own safety, I wouldn't wear one. Because in fact, I was part of a group that used to meet at a breakfast place in the mornings. It was a bunch of old guys. Like, these guys are like 70 plus, right? And like three out of 3 or 4 of them every week would have on
the
MAGA hats or Trump 2020 or whatever. And I used to get nervous, dude.
Yeah, because
I'm like, dude, what's going to happen, right? Yeah. Who's going to come in here and see that and want to start fighting with us, right? I'm like, dude, I'm not about to get in some fight over a stupid hat, right? Especially when I don't even believe. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to say Trump never did anything wrong. Everything he said was golden. I mean, do I like Trump more than Biden? Yeah. As far as policies, as far as the way he led the country, yes. So let me say this as far as where I'm standing.
Before you get there, before that, just to interject really quickly.
Yeah.
When you guys would meet at this breakfast place, was that before or after the cross burning?
Here, I thought you were going to ask a serious question. You go into interject and then you throw that in there. Wow. It was after. Right before. We used to burn the crosses beforehand, and then that would tire us out. So then we'd have breakfast. Yeah, there's nothing like a good omelet right after burning some crosses. You know what I'm saying? There you go. See, I'll play right off your joke, man. See, that's the beauty of this. No, the way that I used to explain it was, do I think Trump is a jerk? Yeah. Do I think Trump has said some very sexist and disrespectful things about women and to women? Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. Do I agree with everything Trump's ever said? No, not even close, right? But I was talking to my niece about this because she's very left-leaning. She's young. She's like 20. And so the example that I use is to say if I was going to the dentist or the orthodontist to get oral surgery, okay? And I'm going in there and I got two options for oral surgeons. I got one guy who is the biggest jerk. Like, he's got no bedside manners. He says the stupidest things when I go in his office, right? You know where I'm going with this. Yeah. And he's like, you know, I walk in there and goes, dude, Ryan, you're such an idiot. I hate you. You know, right? I'm being sarcastic, of course, but let's say he was like that. Yeah. But he has a, 99 out of 100 success rate with this surgery, okay? Then I had the other guy, who's the nicest guy in the world. He'll never say a bad thing to you. He's just happy and friendly, never says anything offensive, but half the people die on his table, right? Who am I going to take for my oral surgery? The jerk. Why? Because I don't care if he's a jerk. I care if he's good at oral surgery, right? And that's the way I look at it. I don't care. I mean, do I wish Trump was a nicer person? Yes. And I'd say, like, would I ever let Trump hang out with my family? No, never. I wouldn't let him around my wife or my kids. No way. But that's not what we're talking about, right? And that's the whole thing. Like, and that's the joke that was always going around once Biden got in, and when Biden started making bad decisions, and even a lot of Democrats were like, "Oh my gosh, what is he doing?" And people started backing away. Some of the Republicans were coming in and joking around, saying, "Hey, but at least you don't have those mean tweets anymore, huh?
I know,
Good thing we don't have those mean tweets anymore." And that's really what it is, right? It's like the left hated Trump. Why? Because he hurt their feelings. That's really what it's all about. And I think that's a big difference between the left and the right. And that's why Shapiro always says facts don't care about your feelings, right? It's just true. I talk with lots of people on the right. I talk with lots of people on the left. And I tend to think, it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, that the people on the right are more based on logic and facts, and the people on the left are more based on feeling. That made me feel a certain way. I don't feel, because when you press them for facts, you say, okay, well, I understand you feel that way. I understand you believe that. Why do you believe that way?
See, but you asking facts is racist, man. I shouldn't, as
somebody said that one time.
I know.
Who was that? Somebody actually said that. They said it's racist to, was it AOC?
It sounds
somebody like that. Somebody like that.
Yeah. No. To be serious, though, to bring it back full circle, your original question was, do I support DeSantis?
Oh yeah.
And I said
yes.
I understand why a lot of people. And listen, I didn't vote for Trump, and I'm probably not going to vote for Biden. I'm probably not going to vote. That's my choice.
You're turning your back on your country, man.
My country has turned its back on me.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, so I don't know, man. I think to answer the question, why am I saying DeSantis, or like people, let's call him by his real name, Ron Death Sanchez? I'm just kidding.
Or DeSatan, right?
That's the other one. Yeah. I understand why a lot of people voted for him. Or for Trump. They just want to see a hand grenade. I'll give you an example of why I can see why people voted for Trump, because he spoke like a populist, even though he said he was going to bring back jobs and stuff like that, and we didn't. The plant that he brought back after his election closed back down. After we're done here, I'll look at the
that's the thing. So this doesn't have to be the end of it.
Okay.
Like when we click stop on the recorder. Yeah. If there's anything that we need to, like I said, if there's statistics that I need to see, please show them to me. And
we'll do. Yeah. No, so I can see why a lot of people voted, because we got tired of the same crony,
Yes.
Washington just taking care of its friends and stuff like that, and they take our money, taxes and stuff like that. They tell us they're gonna fix our roads, and they tell us they're gonna house people that need to be housed and stuff like that. And yet 4 years or 2 years later, when they ask for your vote again, and they say, well, we're going to take your money because we need to do that. So, but that was your excuse 2 years ago.
Right.
You said you were going to fix my roads and house the people 2 years ago. Right. Why are you still taking it?
Because it's always a platform. It's never what they're really going to do. Yeah.
So people got tired of the government not doing anything, or what appears to not doing anything, or it's gridlocked. It's not doing much. So they threw in a hand grenade to see it, because seeing all these people waste American taxpayer money on January 6th, the things. Why are we wasting taking time of the political leaders in them investigating this instead of trying to get inflation to come down.
Oh, because that was the biggest deal in the whole world, dude. That was worse than the Holocaust. It was worse than 9/11. Dude, it was worse than Armageddon.
Because they think that if they keep Trump on the thing, they'll get votes. So like, dude, you guys had 2 opportunities to, and one of them being for January 6th, the impeachment. It failed. Move on. No one cares.
Right.
You know, no one cares.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why do they keep talking about Trump still? He's been out of office for almost 2 years now.
Because they think it helps them win elections, man. But no, you know what helps you win elections? Not terms like Latinx. Not terms like that.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, dude, no.
Let me ask, is it Latinx or is it Latinx?
Latinx.
I don't even know the right way to say the word. Like, really, that's an honest question.
Yeah, Latinx.
It's Latinx?
Latinx,
You don't even know, do you?
I don't even use it. I don't use it, dude.
From what I understand, most people in the Hispanic community
only 2%,
don't.
Only 2%. And that's the academics, you know? That's the academics in academia.
Right, who feel like they have to use it.
Yeah, and then they push. No, but they tell you, oh, well, we're getting things like Latinx, you know, diversity, and we're no longer using the word manhole in Berkeley. You know, that's a win. They think that kind of stuff people instead of trying to bring the price of bacon down, bring the price of eggs down, materially provide for your government. It's not doing that. So I don't know. And Biden's not doing that either. And
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It seems like they're focused on the things that such a small minority cares about. Yeah. And it's almost like, I think now they're coming around and realizing that. Yeah. I don't know what made them have that idea that most of the country wanted those things or was interested in that, like to the full, that they would just go full force and start going after those things. It's like, and now they're starting to realize, wait a minute, it seems like most people don't care about that stuff. They care about stuff like what you just said. They care about inflation. Why? Because that affects their everyday pocketbook.
Yeah.
You know, it affects people that can't afford milk now because milk is $8 a gallon or something. It's like, when did that happen? I mean, it used to be we were just in the store the other day, it used to be like 2 for $3 something. Or like 2 for $4, I think it was. We were in the other day, dude. First of all, there's like no milk. And the only kind that's left is like $7 a gallon for one. I'm like, dang. And my wife jokes, she goes, it'd almost be cheaper. Maybe we could just buy a cow and keep it in the backyard and we'll just milk our own.
Probably.
You know, it'd be fresher. You know, get one of our kids to be the hair picker outer, you know, get all the hair out of there.
Yeah,
but
government's not materially providing. So no, I'm probably not going to vote for DeSantis.
Okay. You're just not going to vote at all. But what you're saying, if you were going to vote, you would go for DeSantis.
No, I don't think so either. Because a lot of the things that I lean on my right side too is just to piss people off too. I'm a polemic. I like reactions. I don't. But no, I do. I believe in the policies. And when I'm saying against Trump, I'm not saying the racist politics. Was he somewhat racist? Maybe. But I'm talking about the policies of like his laws passing or what he wants, his legislation. It's the same thing with DeSantis. No, I don't want cuts to Social Security and all that stuff. No, I do believe in helping the people, whether they're drug addicts or not, you know, whether they made the decision. I still feel that I want my taxpayer money going to that instead of cutting Social Security and passing right-leaning judges on the conservative on the courts and stuff like that. So I'm probably not going to vote for DeSantis on legislative issues. Social issues I don't care for.
Maybe you should run, dude.
No, dude.
Vote for yourself.
No, too many jokes. Too many words that
you'd be the first Latinx president of the United States. How's that, dude?
Too many jokes have been said online where my words can come back and haunt me. I have no chance.
Scary, right?
No chance in hell of winning. The first day I run, people start looking.
I don't know. People said that about Trump, dude. They said even Hillary was like, I got this in the bag. There's no way this moron's getting in there. That's why she was almost suicidal when she lost. You know,
she had another thing coming.
Well, let me ask too. Back to the. I know you didn't want to go down this road, but I can't help but share this story about Trump's racism. I've asked people before, and I ask you the same thing too. But once I'm gonna tell a story first. But I always say, well, you know, can you direct me to anything that Trump has said or done that is racist, right? Like, can you show me a quote of him saying something racist or, and I have yet to anybody take me up on that, right? But there was one time where I was in a conversation with somebody, this is I think it was even before, this was back when Trump was still president. And they had said something along those lines, Trump's a racist or whatever. And I said,
I didn't say he's a racist.
Really?
I said
no, I know you didn't.
Some
people think he is. Yes, I got you. But this person actually said the words "Trump's a racist," and I said, "Okay." I said, just out of curiosity, I said, and I don't usually jump into these things because I know I'm going to get eaten alive. And I said, "Hey, can you direct me to something Trump's ever said or done that's racist?" Yeah. And the person said, "Then this is the way it went." And then their response was, "You don't think he's racist?"
He didn't answer your question with a question.
Yeah. And I said, that's not what we're talking about. I said, I'll answer that question in a minute, but I'm asking you to show me. You made the claim that he is racist. I'm just actually asking you to back up that claim. And they said, you don't think he's racist? Again, they said it. Yeah. I said, well, okay, I'll answer your question. No, I personally don't think so, but I'm open to be corrected. Yeah. Please convince me that he is, right? This is the response, dude. You may or may, you're going to believe it because it's this kind of stuff. This is what they said, dude. They said, oh, well, it must be nice you being white. You can't even see it.
I was about to go there.
That was the response, dude.
That was going to be my
and I said, okay. I said, hold up. I'm kind of laughing at this point, right? I said, let me get this straight. So you made the claim that a person is racist. That's a big claim, right? To claim somebody's, and that's a big, I mean, if you're racist, that's really bad. That's a really bad thing, right? I hate racism. I hate people who are racist. So if you make that claim about somebody, and I simply ask you to back up that claim, and your only response to me is a racist claim against me, okay? That's all you've got? Yeah. It's like, you made the claim. Yeah. I didn't just come out of nowhere and say, hey, what do you think about Trump? Do you think he's racist? You made the claim. Yeah. I asked you to back up the claim, and all you have to say is, well, it must be nice, Ryan, because you're white. You don't even see it.
Ryan.
No, I can see it. Show it to me. My eyes are wide open. My ears are open. Let's see it. Show me. You got nothing.
Bro, you asking people to...
It's racist, right?
To provide facts. It's racist.
It is. It is. I should be slapped. I should just be slapped and strung up because of my blatant racism.
No, he said some stuff that is racist, man. The Mexicans, that they're only bringing their worst, you know, size of cantaloupes, man.
No.
Rapes.
Well,
not everyone rapes. Every race group.
So what's the exact quote though? Because his quotes get totally messed
they're coming
up.
over.
That some rapists are coming over from Mexico.
No, that they're coming over. Wasn't it?
Okay, but did he say every person in Mexico is a racist? Is a rapist? Did he say?
Oh, now you're playing semantics, still, man. Oh,
it's not semantics.
It's semantics.
Is it true?
It's okay. Yes.
Are there rapists in Mexico?
Yes.
Have some of them come over here and raped women?
True. Yes. Same with whites here, blacks here.
Yes.
An age group.
Rapists are not.
Race group.
It doesn't matter what color you are. You're a rapist. You're a rapist.
Right. You're a rapist. Yeah.
And you should be shot, in my opinion.
So okay, but if we're gonna be
that's my stance. If you rape a woman, that's death penalty as far as I'm concerned. That's or molest a child, whatever. You're gone. I don't need you in our society. I don't care what color you are. That's absolutely not okay.
Yeah, I agree. But if we're gonna go down to, well, let's take a look at the exact quote, and then did he say this and this? No, but the overall meaning or the overall thought behind the idea, the idea that he was expressing with this. Did he literally say that?
But see, that's the problem, right? So you're taking. I'm not being semantic. You're taking a quote.
Yeah.
And you're applying what he meant by that quote.
Yeah.
When he didn't see, we have to look at what he said. That's the problem.
Oh, come on, dude.
That's a problem, dude, because you really, if you're honest with yourself, you have no idea what he meant by that quote. You are not him.
Let's bring up the quote.
You can bring up the actual quote? Go ahead.
Let's bring up the quote.
But it's the same as the other one where he said, people always say, oh, he said that you always got to grab women by their, right? And everybody always says that. Trump said you got to grab women by the thing, or whatever. He never said that.
Grab him by the P word?
Yeah.
I think he did, didn't he?
He didn't. You know what he said? You know what the actual quote is? And I'm not condoning the quote. The quote's totally wrong. It's this wrong thing to say. What he said was, some women want you to grab them by that.
But you're being semantic.
It is way different, dude. Because one is suggesting that every man in the world should go around doing that. The other is suggesting is that some women like that. That is totally different meanings, dude.
All right,
totally different meanings.
But let's be honest, that he also did say that that he could. What was it? I'm like a dog. I can do it. And I can get away with it too. What was the quote? And he was like,
I don't know.
I'll bring up the quote later. But
that's not a racist quote. That's just a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
Which again, I agree. He said a lot of stupid things.
Yeah.
I just have yet to see an actual racist quote.
You might be right, man. I might have to go back and But if we're gonna go by the letter of the law of what he spoke and not take into consideration what he meant,
but how? That's my point, dude. How can you do that? How can you ever take someone else's meaning when you don't know what that is?
It's like, dude, it's like you're saying, if you're reading a book, a fiction book, and it's what theme is it trying to convey? The author is not explicitly going to tell the theme I'm setting up in this page right here is fear. It's no, you have the mental capacity to read between the lines, to listen to all the context of what's around the setting, the time, the place, the tone, the speech, and all that,
but that's
to understand that
kind of different. Because if you're going to take someone's quote, something they said.
Bring it in. Let's bring it into context.
Let's say that you say something, you know exactly what you mean by what you said. Let's say I take what you said, and I say you meant something else by that, and then I start telling everybody else what you meant by that, and you're going, dude, no, that you're right about what I said, but you're totally wrong about what I meant by it.
But what if
I'm sharing that with?
But what if you were
that's
right?
not what I'm saying. If I'm right, then fine.
Yeah, but what if you were right in the way that I meant what I said was the things that I meant to be expressed?
Then that would be fine.
Yeah.
But my point is, I have no way to know what you mean unless you tell me that's you. Now, if Trump made that quote and he said, by the way, what I mean is, I think everybody that lives in Mexico is a bunch of rapists and child molesters. Now, if he said that, then I would be right there with you and say, oh my gosh, this guy hates Mexican people, obviously, right?
All right, let's take in consideration the Parkland 5 or whatever, the 5 African American teens that were wrongly convicted of a rape back in the 80s.
Okay.
He published, went on the New York Times and published and paid, money to go after these young kids. Is that not racist? Come on.
Again, it depends on motive. What if you really think they did it?
Yeah, but he thought. Okay, so
if you really think someone committed a rape,
he committed it because they were black. That's far.
Exactly. It's the same with the quote unquote hate crimes, right? If a white guy kills a black guy or a black guy kills a white guy, and you say, well, that's a hate crime, simply because it's a white guy killing a black guy or vice versa, it's called a hate crime. But the reason I have a problem with that statement is because you really don't know why it happened. It could have nothing to do with race at all. It could be that they were in a grocery store and the guy cut him off with his cart. Could have just as easily been another white guy. He was ticked off. He got in a fight with his wife earlier that day. He's got a gun in his pants and the guy cut him off. Doesn't matter what color he is, boom, shoots him dead. Has nothing to do with the color of his skin and everything to do with the guy's a psychotic moron, right? But every time that happens, we say, it's a hate crime. It's a hate crime, which implies that you know the motive behind it. Sometimes we do know the motive, right? If there's a guy that shoots up a school or a church, or that guy with the black church, right? I forgot where that was. But he actually said, I don't like black people. So I went to a black congregation. I shot a bunch of black people. Now that's black and white, plain as day. You can say that is absolutely a hate crime. He said his motive was he hates black people. There's no debating that. I agree with you completely. The only way it couldn't be a hate crime is if the guy's lying. And he really doesn't hate black people, but he's just saying he does because he wants. But I mean, what are the odds on that, right? But so often we don't even give any chance with that. George Floyd. There is zero evidence, and again, I'm going to get canceled for this too. There is zero evidence that had anything to do with race. Zero. To this day, they had a whole trial about it. There was no evidence brought forth against Derek Chauvin to show that it was a race crime, a hate crime against a black man. The only reason people say that is because it just happened to be a white cop and it happened to be a black guy. That is the only thing that they have to go on.
If the statistics show that blacks are getting killed more by the hands of police.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't find that statistic.
Okay, let's say for the sake of the argument that what you just said is true.
Then it's
what?
Racist.
Why? Then we go back to what we were talking about before. What if black men are committing more crimes in black neighborhoods where there happens to be white officers patrolling? Is there going to be more shootings of black men? Yes. Does that mean that it's racist? No. It means that more black men are committing more crimes in black neighborhoods where white men are patrolling. You see what I'm saying? There's always another option. Could it be racism? Absolutely. Are there racist cops? Absolutely. Right? But does that mean every time...
I'm not anti-cop.
I know you're not. I'm just saying. But am I saying that every time that a white cop kills a black guy that it's not racist? No, I'm not saying that. There could be cases of that, but the problem is we're doing the reverse. We're saying anytime, doesn't matter what the situation is, and we've seen it, right? You see, sometimes we have video footage of the guy reaching for a weapon, right? Yeah. And the cop telling him, stop, put it down. Turns around holding the weapon. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. What do they say on the news? A white cop killed a black man. Racism. I want to see one, and I'm totally getting myself in trouble here. I want to see one instance. Please show me. I'm sure they're out there, but they're hard to come by. But the way the news talks about it, you think they're all over the place. I want to see one instance where a black man is doing absolutely nothing wrong at all. He's just minding his business. He's driving down. He's singing along to his happy music and the birds are chirping. And the cop comes up and says, get out of the car, lay down on the ground, pop, 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 and kills him. Where is that?
There's no.
But that's the way they present it. LeBron James says he's scared to leave his house because white cops are looking around, and that's the way he presents it. All these white cops, every morning they wake up, they say, all right, hope I can find some black people to shoot today. That's not the way they're thinking about it. Almost in every case, they're reaching for something, or they're armed, or in the case they, it was an unarmed black man. Right, but he wasn't showing his hands. Yeah. How does the cop know he's unarmed? I don't care what color you are, dude. If the cop tells you to put your hands on the steering wheel, put them on the steering wheel. Yeah. I tell my kids the same thing. Yeah. I say, I don't care if you're doing anything wrong or not. Yeah. You could be totally innocent. Put them on the steering wheel. The cop will come, he'll search your car, he'll find nothing that you're doing wrong, he'll let you go. Yeah. Every time.
Yeah. Maybe I'm going around. Maybe I'm going around, man.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
and I think that's causing more division by presenting things that way. Because then, what's the thing that just came out the other day with, I don't know if you saw it, it was like a 4-year-old kid. And the cops were called out to some neighborhood. And if I'm not mistaken, the cop was a black guy, I think. And the kids were black. This is just for context because it's important to the story. And they get there, and the little 3 or 4-year-old dude, he's cussing at the cops, telling them that they're... I saw that, right? Yeah. So it's like, if you train a young mind from an early age and you tell them, the cops hate you because you're black. They hate you. They're looking for any reason they can find to arrest you because they hate you. If you teach that to a young kid, what do you think he's going to be thinking when he's 14, 15, or even 30 years old if he's been taught that his whole life? Anytime he gets pulled over, he's going to be like, oh, the cop's going to kill me. Yeah. Right?
But I think the important thing is when we actually come down to discussion where we have an avenue where you can actually express nuance and context and stuff like that.
Yes.
We'll get a lot more places, but that's not how the when you're sharing news or clips and stuff like that, you have to boil it down to 30 seconds. Now it has to be boiled down.
Yeah, but they're so biased though, dude.
It's not
just that it's short. It's like they have an agenda.
Yeah, no, I've woken up to that.
Right.
To use the term maliciously. No, dude, I used to believe in Russiagate, man. I was one of those. I used to believe in Russiagate, man. How can we not? I was like one of those. How can you not see that he's working with Putin and stuff like that?
Right.
And then, as it turns out, the dossier,
the dossier.
The dossier is this was kind of like wrong, and even Mueller didn't use it or anything like that. I was like, oh, that's when I started realizing, oh, well, let's look at the report, and what's happening is like, oh, okay, maybe he wasn't working after all. And then, like Ben Shapiro said, the guy was too lazy to even conspire with his own administration to get things going. So you think he's gonna conspire with Russia? I was like, oh yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
But see, that's the difference between you and others. Like you wait for the evidence to come out, you look at it, you make a decision.
Yeah, that's because I'm racist, though, man.
Well, that is
because I'm waiting for evidence.
Yes, because you're racist.
That's gonna be taken out. Can we cut that part out? I'm a racist.
Yeah.
No, you're dude. It's all about context.
Water.
Yeah.
I want to, before we move on to our last topic, our last section, I definitely want to touch on the Matt Walsh movie, and talk about. You had said you disagree with his take.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
On Matt Walsh's... well, first of all, what's his take? If you haven't seen the movie, you may or may not know. He's pretty vocal about it.
So I think I may know, and I listened to his podcast show. So I think it's the same position as Ben might be, and a lot of folks, and I don't know if a lot of folks on the right agree with this. I'm just saying that these two specific individuals who have a platform are trying to boil down the human experience to a biological dichotomy. You're either a man or you're a woman, and I think they're just trying to limit the human experience to the biological core. I have a dick or I have a vagina or whatnot, and then that makes you what you are. I don't necessarily agree with that, man. Do I believe that there's things called like demigod, like genders, like a demon self and
right?
Stuff?
Yeah, so that's where it gets to the extreme.
That's
right? But let me ask then. Yeah. So biologically, right? You would agree biologically there's men and there's women, but then when you leave biology, that's when you get into things like transgender. So if someone is biologically a male, like Leah Thomas, he's biologically a male, yet believes himself to be, or herself, depending on how you want to say it, to be a woman. Do you believe that mental belief actually makes him/her a woman?
If they're being honest, I think so. Yeah, and I would, and if she's a woman, and I do believe her to be a woman. Now we can also again, it comes back to nuance. So with that specific example, is it fair to have her compete while she has an advantage with muscle structure and bone structure? Maybe at this point, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know her regimen on her or her extent of transition. But yeah, so my ex-girlfriend is trans and the girliest girl, and she said that she was ever since she was a little kid, she always knew that I'm not this. It bothered her, so she transitioned fully. You know,
from a man to a woman.
Yeah. So totally, the girliest girl. And if you were to put her in a MMA fight with other women, her what do you call it?
She'd knock him out. Her weight.
No, she would lose.
Oh, gotcha.
My ex would lose. Girlier girls, and stuff like that. So yeah, but can we have the discussion about maybe transitioning early, like that kind of stuff?
Well,
I don't agree about
there's
that.
a lot of ways to go with it. That's why I was just wanting to just from the top, just to say.
I'll answer like this. I try not to limit the human experience to the biological. So we're more than just biological beings. We have the ability to reason and think, and to feel.
Yes.
And that's important. I know facts don't care about your feelings, but that's what makes us humans. We feel that.
Sure.
We can't limit just ourselves to what we have in our pants. That's limiting.
Well, I wouldn't word it that way. And that's what they kind of try to break it down to. It is genitals.
Yeah.
But it's more than that, right? You got XY chromosomes. You got bone structure. I mean,
but if we're taking biological things to limit us to what is a man or what is a woman, that's limiting.
Yeah, but
is it correctly to say
isn't biology itself limiting it though? It seems like we're leaving rationality and logic to say that whatever you see, and now with transgenderism, this is something that we're seeming to be okay with. But if someone says, and you look at some of those people say, and you'll see this in Matt's movie, he has a wolf lady or whatever. Right. So how far do we go with it? Like if you fully believe in your mind that you are a wolf or you're a giraffe or some other example, say, what if you fully believe in your mind that you're 65 years old? Should you be able to get Social Security?
But I think that the wolf thing and the wolf belief in wolf gender or trans animalism and transgenderism, I think it's not an apples to apples comparison, because one, you're dealing with from one species to another. The other one, we're dealing with the same species. It's just of two different sexes or whatever, you know?
Yeah, but I guess I'm just appealing to the idea that.
But if we take it to
whatever you believe, whatever you think in your mind, does that create truth? Which leads me to my next question, which this will delve into our spirituality section of this discussion. Do you believe that there is any kind of like an absolute truth? And what I mean by that is something that's true regardless of what you and me think or believe. It just is. Yeah. It just is a truth.
There's some empirical
right. Do you believe that's true? Is there anything like that you can say? Yeah, I think this is something. It doesn't matter what I believe. This is a laptop.
Yeah.
You can believe that it's a pineapple, Does that make it a pineapple, or is it still a laptop?
No, I understand that.
See what I'm saying?
So I was a huge fan of Sam Harris. I'm sure you're familiar with Sam Harris. Yeah. So
atheist guy. Right?
I was a militant atheist at one point in my life, and I don't know what I believe now. If I have to go back to religion, I think I would go back to Catholicism. Just something out of I don't know. So, but to answer your question, like, how many blades of grass are there in the world? Obviously, there is an answer.
Yeah.
There is an answer. And I will never know it. I don't think anyone answers.
It's different to say that you don't know something. That's different than saying you can't know. Or even you can't know it is different. But there is an answer.
There is an answer.
Right? The absolute truth in that sense would be that whatever that number is.
Whatever the number is.
Even if we can never know it, right? They used to think the Earth was flat.
Yeah.
They believed that with all their heart. But that doesn't mean the Earth was flat. It's always been round. They just didn't know it.
To say, okay, so to answer your question, is there a grand truth that maybe the answer is that I will never find? But regardless if I believe in it or accept whatever that truth is there something out? Is there a grand absolute truth?
Right.
Yes. What that absolute truth is might just be we're bunch of rocks were made out of stardust and bunch of rocks, and none of us are going to get out of it.
Well, that's on a grand scheme, though. But is there anything in your personal life, like when you sit there with your hat on,
like a god?
Can I know? Can I say that you? No. See, that's more grand. I'm starting lower. Like you're wearing a hat.
Yeah.
That's a factual statement, right? That's an absolute truth. You are indeed wearing a hat.
Yes.
Now, someone over here sitting next to me could say, no, he's not wearing a hat.
He's a liar.
That would be a false statement, right?
Yeah.
But someone who's more of a relativist would say, no. To him, it's true. You're not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
You see,
I know relativism. Yeah, I don't.
Right.
So
you have perception versus absolute truth, right? Which is again, and the example I've used before. Take pizza. Let's say we're eating pizza together. I wish we were actually.
Yeah.
And I said, I think mushrooms are the best pizza topping in the world. And you said, I think mushrooms are the worst pizza topping in the world. We're both right. Because that's a matter of perception. But if I said, this is pizza that we're eating, and you also had pizza, and you said, no, this is chow mein.
That's wrong. Yeah.
Correct. So the absolute truth would be it is pizza. But then there's realms of perception where you could say, no, I disagree with you. I don't think that's good at all. I hate mushrooms.
No, but here's where I think I know where you're going with this, and I'm not saying that you're doing it in a malicious or undercutting way.
I'm always malicious.
No, but with respect to the pizza or the laptop or me wearing a hat, we're dealing with objects. We're dealing with objects that in and of itself have no feelings in itself.
Right.
When we're talking about trans women or trans men, they're human.
Right, but we're still talking about what they believe in their mind. See, what they believe in their mind is different than what their biology is. You just said that.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that because what they believe in their mind is different, that means therefore they are what they believe they are in their mind.
But then you're just limiting the human experience to its biological settings, man. I'm more than what is the male XX? XY?
Males have XY.
I'm more than just XY chromosome.
I agree with you.
I'm more than just that.
You're more. Well, even if we both agreed and said men are men, women are women, I would still say men are more than just that, and women are more than just that. We're a lot of things. We're. I mean, that's the bare bones of the whole idea. To say, what's your function as a woman? Well, I just make babies. I just have babies. I give birth to babies. No, that's not your only function. You have a brain. You have thoughts. You have emotions. You love. You have. Of course, that's not the height of the human experience. But I'm just saying that if somebody thinks something in their mind, believes something to be true, an example Ben Shapiro always uses is his grandfather was schizophrenic, and he used to think the TV was talking to him, and he would say, well, we have two options. We could tell, hey, Grandpa, you're right. The TV is talking to you. You should go kill yourself. The TV's telling you to kill yourself. Go kill yourself because obviously you think it's happening, so it's true. He says, no, we didn't do that. We took him to the doctor. We got him some lithium. And now he's fine. Yeah. Right? Well, he doesn't think the TV's talking to him anymore, right? That's kind of the gist. And the reason why people say it's different is because there's feeling. I know somebody who's trans. Yeah. I love them. They're my friend. They're my whatever, I care for them. I love them. That's great. I'm not saying that's. I'm not even going there. I think I have no problem with trans. I don't hate trans. No,
I'm not saying you are.
I know. I'm just making the statement. I don't hate gay people. I don't hate trans. I have no hatred for anybody at all. Yeah. But I can still disagree with someone's viewpoint, and I can try to look at it logically, and I can say, well, just as a bare bones, if someone believes something is true, does that make it true? And that's the way I see it. But I think you're making it
seem that this belief that they have is something whimsical, like, oh, I believe the Dodgers are the best baseball team in the team. It's like something so trivial. Well, but we're dealing with
it's more serious
of being. We're talking of.
It's definitely a more serious thing. Yes.
Something about your constitution and the way you want to represent yourself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel, sometimes you may have been born in a body that doesn't fully represent you, and we have the corrective methods to do that and to say, I think a trans woman is a woman. Where I don't like this notion is, maybe like the example that the Ben and Matt always like show the woke teachers and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, there is something maybe. Oh, when you have second graders coming out as that
whole classroom.
Yeah, the whole
see that
recently.
Yeah,
I saw that recently. It's like, maybe
there might be a little bit of a push there.
There's something right there,
Right.
And I agree, and I agree. But to say that every trans woman, or to say that every trans person is being pushed into that, I don't know. Like, for example,
I don't think that either.
Some people truly, I am not a man. I am not a man.
Right.
And. This is something fundamental to their core.
And I agree with you. I guess the question is it, and this is where I get in trouble with my terms again, is that a mental disorder or is that totally normal and natural? That's where the argument comes in.
Well, if it's cured, after they transition and they're happy about it.
Is that how you determine? So when you look at those that have transitioned in which they could go back, would you say that that's a failed?
Maybe.
Because there's lots of that.
Maybe. But I'd be skeptical, or I'd be hard pressed to say that those instances that have transitioned and regret it, I don't know the how comparable that is to the overall of people who are happy after they transition or are transitioning, So I'd be hard pressed to say that.
So would you do you?
Are trans women? I say
right. Yeah, I got that. But do you support the transitioning of what age would you think is appropriate?
That's where I think, because my ex didn't transition until she was in her 20s, well into her 20s. I don't know. Definitely not a prepubescent. Definitely not that. Mm-hmm. Maybe once. I don't know. I'm not a medical expert, and I don't know.
The problem is the medical experts aren't very. They're kind of agenda driven, also maybe. Seemingly.
Yeah,
so,
maybe. But I don't know. I think we as humans, and especially in this country, have the right to pursue, however, the pursuit of happiness. We have that fundamental right.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I would even say, again, this is what I need to make clear. I'm by no means am I saying that. That somehow that they should be treated differently or locked up somewhere and said, no, I think they have the right in America to live however they want. I totally agree with that. I'm not trying to attack that at all.
So
I'm just saying.
Is then why is it so important then? Why do we even have to have this discussion? Why can't we just let people be?
I'll tell you why.
Why?
I have an answer for this.
Okay.
And this is my own personal response to this, is that I think it's dangerous when we start allowing conformity to whatever people think is true. I think that's dangerous because it's only a matter of time before it starts becoming anything.
But that's implying that your everyday trans person or LGBT person is wanting to convert you into some, and I know that's
not what I'm saying.
But they're trying to convert you into this religion of transgenderism.
No.
I don't.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you take it a step further, you leave gender out of it, and if the idea is that whatever you believe in your mind is true, then.
But then so
where does that end?
We're making the comparison between, as if saying that it's a mental disorder, and there are some mental disorders. But I don't want to say that trans is. I think transgenderism
right.
is a negative isn't used in a negative connotation. I don't know, man. No, why can't we just? Yeah, no. Does it affect you if they believe what they believe? If they're pushing legislation,
no more so than the schizophrenic that believes he is Ronald McDonald.
But the schizophrenic is being told that by themselves to go kill themselves. Obviously, that's wrong.
Well, if that happens, that's wrong. But you're just saying in general. I'm just saying a schizophrenic living his life believing that he is a pineapple.
Yeah.
As long as he just keeps that belief as that, and he doesn't do anybody any harm. That doesn't affect my life any more than a man believing he's a woman or vice versa.
True, but if a schizophrenic thinks he's a pineapple or some sort of thing, that's another thing. But we're still dealing with the human.
Yeah, but you're asking about as far as does it affect me?
Yeah.
Personally, and I'm just saying no. It doesn't. A person believing they're the opposite gender than they are biologically does not affect. It doesn't bother me at all. But if we're going to sit down and have a discussion about what's going on with society and what logically do we throw biology out the window? Do we just discount it based on what people believe in their minds? That's just a conversation to have.
Yeah, but if we're talking about beliefs too, then I would counter as like, well, why do we still believe in the ancient Abrahamic gods? There's no logical reasons.
Good transition.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So tell me your spiritual beliefs. We'll go there next.
I grew up Catholic, cultural Catholic. I still
because your parents were kind of thing.
Yeah. And it just goes back. If I was born in Kuwait, I would have probably been Muslim because that's or in Israel, I would have probably been a Jewish. Sorry, I would have been Jewish.
Oh, is that wrong to say now? A Jew?
I'm being careful.
No, Ben Shapiro calls himself a Jew.
A Jew? Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds malicious coming from me. it being recorded.
You just wanted to cover your bases there. Tell everybody you're actually not anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I'm not anti-Semitic. Yeah,
right.
If I was born in India or what have you, I would have been Hindu and stuff like that. So that's the way I see it. It's cultural. It's all. It's.
Do you see it all as cultural, or you're just saying in your own personal life it is?
If I'm taking it to its logical conclusion, there is no logical reason to believe in a God.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You think belief in God goes against logic? How so?
Well, we know the world wasn't created in 7 days.
How do we know that?
What is it called? The when you're
Earth's crust?
No, not the Earth's. Well, that too, but radiologically tested.
Oh, radiometric dating.
Something like that. Yeah.
You know those have been proven faulty.
Show me that.
I will. I'll show you articles. I'll show you. There's.
But so the counterfactual would be: do you believe the world is 7,000 years old?
Around there, between 6 and 8. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm young Earth. Well, I take the biblical account as truth, and I don't.
Are you literalist? I'll agree with you there. I will.
Well, I take scripture literal where it's presented as literal. I don't take when it's presented as allegorical. I don't take that literal. I don't take.
When is it presented allegorical?
Well, I mean, you have parts in the Psalms or Proverbs where, or when Jesus teaches the parables, for example, he's not saying this is something that actually happened. He's telling a story, like Aesop's fables, right? He's telling a story, a fictional story, in order to teach a moral lesson, right? So you can't take that literally. You can't be like, oh yeah, this definitely happened. There really were 10 virgins that took their lamps down to the whatever. Yeah. There's allegory in the Bible, but I think people get in trouble when they take things that are obviously literal and they take it as allegory because they have some other newfangled interpretation of it. But that being said, I also take what I think science shows, because I believe in science as well. And I think science shows, I don't think science shows that the Earth is billions of years old as they would make you think. I look at radiometric dating and carbon dating and that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of flaws in that system. I think there's been proven flaws in that system.
We'll talk about this,
because they'll test a piece of wood that was inside a piece of rock, like literally inside it, and the dates are just way off, like way off, not even close, right? And there's been lots of examples like that. When Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980. They talk about how petrification, fossilization takes millions of years and that the whole deal, or at least thousands, right? When Mount St. Helens erupted and the stuff came down, it was rapid. the stuff fossilized within days.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a lot of evidence contrary. The reason I think that they fight so hard for a billions of year old Earth is because in order for evolution to be true, they need that.
Okay.
Because if you don't have, because that's always the cop out. You say, well, how come there's so many quote unquote missing links in the fossil record? And they'll say, well, because we can't have. I mean, that takes billions of years. Oh, well, how convenient, right? You need billions of years in order for that to work. And they say, well, how come we don't see any transitional creatures or whatever, right?
That's not how evolution works, though, man.
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
But isn't that kind of the point?
I'm not an evolutionary biologist.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I'm not either. So I guess we can't talk about it then.
No, you're interesting. Yeah. No, we can talk about it. I would have to read up more upon it.
Sure.
To give a good faith answer.
Sure. Right.
Let me ask you this: do you believe that there are scientists out there that are good faith actors within the realms of like?
What do you mean?
Actually making these studies? Do you think they're doing it?
Do I think there's scientists out there that are agendaless and they're just looking at the facts?
At the facts,
absolutely.
And trying to subscribe to
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of PhD scientists who are Christians.
Okay. Yeah.
Who many would say the opposite. They say, oh, they have an agenda. They're trying to make science fit into the Bible or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think in the case of old Earth creationists, that is the case.
What's old Earth and young Earth?
So old Earth creationists believe that they are Christians. They believe in God. They believe in the whole thing, but they believe that the Earth is billions of years old, which is most Christians that I run across. I don't meet a lot of other young Earth. I'm young Earth, which is like believing the 6,000 to 8,000 year Earth. But a lot of the old Earth creationists will say that. I forgot where I was going before you asked me that question.
Radioactive or
no, we're past that. I lost it. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead with your next. What were you saying?
Yeah, no. So I agree with you. There is either a God or there isn't.
Well,
in your case,
what other option is it?
Well, right. Yeah.
It's like saying it's either a table or it's not.
Yeah. What a cop out.
Well, what else could it be? A not table?
Yeah. No. I think. I haven't read the Bible in a long time, but I do read it. Mm-hmm. I do subscribe. I have more respect for the Christian who says that they believe what the Bible believes it is truly said. Mm-hmm. Because I'm right there with you. Because Jesus was a teacher of the Old Testament. God is the Old Testament. But I do feel that. Man, I don't know what I believe. I'm probably gonna go.
That's why we're talking about it. Yeah. I'm trying to pull you out of hell, man. I'll get you out of there.
Yeah. Listen, man.
So you believe in God.
I'm not an atheist.
You believe in the existence of a deity.
I don't know if I want to believe, or I'm believing, but I'm negating. So it's very.
Let's scratch what I just said. Let me word it this way. Do you believe in? When you look around at what there is, you look at the trees, you look at the rocks, you look at the sky, the clouds, all that kind of stuff. Do you think to yourself, something intelligent must have created this, or do you think this could all happen by random chance? That's a different question. We'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, I've dealt with this a long time, especially when I was reading the Hitchens.
Christopher Hitchens,
When I was reading Christopher Hitchens, when I was reading Sam, all these people, Lawrence, Dawkins, especially Dawkins.
Yeah.
So I've dealt with these questions too. I'm in two camps, man. Two camps. It's either God did create all of this, or it is random chance. I don't know which is.
Well, I'm not even saying God. That's why I'm saying we can leave that.
No. But if there has to be something intelligent, it would be the Abrahamic God.
But I guess what I'm saying is when you so let me use an example that a guy named Ray Comfort uses. I don't know if you ever heard Ray Comfort.
I've heard of him. The banana guy, though. Right?
Yeah. So one of the things he always says is if you look at a building, and you say, and somebody said to you, that building just appeared there out of random chance. It just
But we know it didn't.
But hang on though. Let's pretend like we don't. Yeah. Let's say you've never seen a building before, and you're walking through the wilderness, and all of a sudden you come across a gigantic skyscraper, with windows, symmetrical, and they're going up. There's 50 floors. There's a working elevator. There's a lobby with a restaurant where they're serving food, like all this stuff, right? You walk in there, and someone says to you, "Hey, man, this thing just sprang up
random chance. No intelligence at all went into creating this building. You would say, now I'm gonna presume you would say, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Anybody with half a brain could look at this and say, obviously, some intelligence was behind this, right? Yeah. Same as a painting. You look at a painting. Was there a painter? No, it just randomly happened. Just paint slammed into each other in the middle of the night and the canvas, and it just all worked into this, not just a picture, but a picture of something. It's a woman in a boat rowing across, and there's a waterfall, right? It's a picture of something. To say that's just random makes no sense. I get you. Right? Okay.
I get you.
So, but then we look at something as complex as creation, like even if you just look at like creation, like plants and animals and stuff, but let's go even farther. Look at people. Like we were just talking about. People have biology. They have emotions. They have thought, brainwaves. They have all these things, personalities, right? Every person has a unique and distinct personality that is distinct to them, right? All this stuff. And man looks at that. The evolutionist looks at that and says, yep, random chance. No intelligence behind it all. We just, boom, one day an amoeba popped into some primordial soup, and that crawled out of the ocean, became a fish, or became a fish first, and crawled out and became a lizard. That lizard turned into a chicken, chicken to an ape, ape to people. And that's what they believe.
I think that's very reductionist thinking of evolution, but I understand.
Just go back to the amoeba. Let's not even talk about the evolutionary process. Just go to the amoeba and the complexity of that amoeba. Let's say that evolution's true. And everything is within that amoeba that it's going to take to one day morph into man. That in and of itself, to say that was random chance would be ludicrous to me. That's ludicrous.
Okay, so no. So okay, I'll grant you that, man. Right. But what stops me from fully believing the creation theory that you got something out of nothing, or that there was a divine hand that started it all. Before nothing, in nothingness, there was already something.
Right.
Who made that? Who was the creator of the creator?
Well, that's a great question, and there's an answer to that.
God created himself?
No. So everything that's created needs a creator. Correct.
Who created the creator?
Right. So we go back. Now, eventually, you're going to have to get to a point where something is without a creator. That's God. The Bible presents
created God?
Nobody. He always has been in existence. Always.
And that's logical to you?
Yes. It is because you can make the statement that everything that's created needs a creator, right? Like this microphone needed a creator, this water bottle, this phone, this table.
So God just
me, we all had to be created. We didn't create ourselves, right? But if you keep going back, you'll go back forever. You say, okay, and then God created all of us, but then some other God created that God, and then some other God created that God, and some other God created that God, and you go into infinity. Eventually, you're going to have to get to a point where there's something that has been ever existing that is the start of all creation. You're going to have to get to that point.
But what if it was the Big Bang?
I believe in the Big Bang. I think science points to the Big Bang, but I don't think it was. Yes, 100%.
Who?
100%.
That's where I'm lost. That just doesn't make sense.
Why?
Something has to have had. God has to. Who created God?
Nobody.
That's the thing. See.
Why does that not make sense?
But. And I'm not looking down on you. I'm not. This is.
Oh no! Absolutely. This is great.
And man, I don't even know.
Yeah, you can look down on me all you want.
No, I'm not. I'm not. No. But that as an answer isn't.
Well, what doesn't make sense like that?
Unsatisfying.
It doesn't make sense that something can be without, can exist without being created. That's the part. So that makes no sense to you.
That makes no sense.
So you think everything.
But that might be the ultimate in the grand scheme of things. That might be the reason.
Right.
There's no way for me to have known or not. It comes down to faith.
Yes, but again, see, and this is the trouble that I have sometimes with these discussions, is that a lot of times faith is presented as a blind faith, as if there's really no evidence behind any of this. I just want it to be true, so I'm going to jump out in blind faith and I'm just going to believe it. That's not the way I function. There are many Christians that do function that way, many religious people that function that way. I don't function that way.
I don't want to believe something if it's not true.
Yeah.
And I've told people before, if it can be proven that God doesn't exist, I'm going to look at that evidence. And if that evidence is satisfactory and it proves to me that God doesn't exist, I will abandon all of my belief systems about God.
But that's faulty already, man. You can't prove something that isn't real. No, okay. But you can't.
I agree. You can't.
Yeah, but if God did create us and he's out. Yeah, no, man. Like, no. I don't know. I'm genuinely, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. And that's why I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Right. Well, sorry.
No,
you go ahead.
No. So now the way I look at things with respect to religion, and if you want to cut it, we can cut it.
No, dude, we got another 30 minutes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now, maybe I'll change in the future, but if there is a God, so what? You know? Does it affect my everyday being? Now, you might say that it's going to affect me when I die, because I'll go to hell.
Well, if that's true.
If that's true.
If it's not true, it's not going to affect you at all.
Right now, it's not, but there's no, whether the question is there a God or is there not? Right now, it's irrelevant to my life. I have other things. I have worldly matters to attend to. Trying to buy a house and stuff like that. So
sure.
There might be a God. Yeah.
Right.
I don't let that question trouble me as much, especially now when I was a college student, it troubled me a lot because I didn't have anything else to do. It was either go to jerk off or go to school, you know.
Yeah.
But now that I have like things like bills and stuff like that, it just at this point in juncture, it's kind of irrelevant. The question, maybe in my future, maybe once I'm close to death, I'll be a deathbed conversion.
When's that going to be, though?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
I hope you live to be 110, but there's no guarantee of that.
And I'm rolling the dice. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Yeah.
But those kinds of questions are just debilitating at this point, or freezing. And I got worldly matters to attend to.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I don't know, man. Here's the thing, though. Do I sometimes talk to myself or pray and think I'm talking to a God? Mm-hmm. I think so, man. Because even when I was a militant atheist, I didn't fully commit to it either, because I would still feel guilty. But is that just me feeling guilty because of my cultural background? And
right. It could very well be. Yeah. Right. Your parents raised you a certain way,
way and stuff like that. So am I just feeling guilty because of my paternal upbringing, or am I being guilty because I know there is a God and I'm going against him?
Well, it could be either, and that's what each person I think needs to dig into themselves. And I mean, but it's a scary place if your beliefs are based solely on what you were raised as, and it's kind of a split level for me, because like with my kids, obviously I raised them under my beliefs, because I believe it's true, and I believe it's necessary and all that, right? But at the same time, I don't want them, and I tell them this. I tell them all the time: you cannot have my faith. You have to develop your own. Right? You have to have your own relationship with the Lord. You can't get into heaven based on my faith. Yeah. Like, you can't get in and say, oh, my dad was a Christian. Doesn't matter. You need Christ. Not you can't get in on what I have, right? And I tell them that. And it's kind of like this split thing, right? Where it's like, but what's the option? Just don't raise them in the church. Just don't tell them, don't take them to church. Don't teach them about God. No, I can't do that. But at the same time, I don't want them to fall into that niche where they get to be 20, 25 and they're like, yeah, I believe in God. Well, why? Oh, because my dad told me he's real. Yeah. That's the stupidest answer in the world.
But I don't think a lot of 25-year-olds are, when they do believe, I'm sure that they've already gendered their...
yes and no, right? So we raised... I became a Christian. Well, I guess we didn't really get into my story with that, but I became a Christian when I was 24. Okay. Before that, I hated Christians with a passion. Yeah. Like I would go to Bible studies that crazy people with some reason invite me to, and I would argue with them and tell them how stupid and narrow-minded they were. Their Bible was dumb. Yeah. Their whole religion was stupid. Tell them I had my own relationship with God. Right? Like, but I was never an atheist. Okay. I always believed in quote unquote God. But he was a God I made up in my own mind. And when anybody tried to tell me anything about, quote unquote, their God or this Jesus guy who says he's the only way to heaven, what a narrow-minded bigot, I'd get all bent out of shape, right? So I get all upset. So my daughter was about 2.5 or 3 when I became a Christian. Yeah. And my wife also. shortly after me. But so all 4 of my children have been raised in the church, like from as young as they can remember. Yeah. My 23-year-old daughter is still a Christian. Yeah. She ended up going to a Christian university where I think her faith was solidified. She took a lot of classes there and stuff, and you never know, that could turn you either way. You know, I think that she's truly got a heart for the Lord and a mind for the Lord, and I don't think it's based on me and her mom. I think it's her own thing. She's developed her own religion. My 20-year-old son also grew up in the church. He's out of the house now, and he's questioning. Right? He doesn't know what he believes at this point, and I think that's good. I think. I mean, it's scary as a parent because of what I believe is true. Yeah. I don't want him to die and go to hell, of course, but at the same time, I don't want him to try to have my faith, right? So I'm glad he's questioning, and I think that if he's truly seeking the truth, he'll get there, right? My younger 2, who knows? They're still young.
If they found God through Catholicism or through another?
Well, you use Catholicism. That's an iffy one because I think a lot of Catholics are Christians. I think that they have Christ. They're trusting in Christ for their atonement, for their salvation. So no, I wouldn't be upset if he truly found Christ through Catholicism. Great. But if you said something like Buddhism, like if he became a Buddhist or if he became a Hindu or something, I'd be like, well, those don't involve Christ. So if my belief is that Christ is the only way of salvation, then I would have to believe that my son's a Hindu. He's not going to heaven.
What if they found through Islam?
If they found Christ?
No, God. Isn't the objective to be close to God?
Well, depending on what you mean by God.
Well, God is Christ. Christ is God.
That's true. But if you're going to go and say that the Hindu God, the Muslim God.
No, I'm talking about the Abrahamic God.
Well, but see, I don't believe Allah and the God of the Bible are the same person.
Yeah.
But I do believe the God of the Bible is the God of Catholicism. I think they have the same Bible. I mean, kind of the same. They have some different books in theirs, but I think ultimately they believe in Christ for their salvation. To where that's not the case in Islam. Yes, it's an Abrahamic God because it's coming from Abraham, and Ishmael and the whole deal. But they don't believe the scriptures. They don't believe the Bible. They believe in the Quran, and So that's kind of a whole different belief system that stems off of the same Middle Eastern religious sect. But so no, I wouldn't be happy about that. I wouldn't disown them or tell them, but that's where I would kind of listen and talk to them and be like, hey, let's talk about this. Why do you believe this is true? Why do you believe that Allah is the right way or Islam is the right religion? If
I'm going to go back to Catholic, to God and Christ, it's probably going to be, and I've been already thinking about it myself too. I most likely do believe in God. Yeah. One of the books that got me back into thinking about, how much time have we got left? We'll cut it here shortly, man. 5 minutes?
If you want to cut it in 5 minutes, we can.
Let's just cut it, and then we can continue off.
Okay.
Yeah. I like doing this, man.
We'll have a part 2?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. And this is a question for us. If it's on the podcast, it's fine. But do you believe then God loves his children, Christ loves his children? Mm-hmm. Trans people are creations of his. Mm-hmm. Why can't they just live their life?
Well, because it's not about who God loves. It's about whether or not a person surrenders to God. Yeah. That's what the biblical teaching of Christianity is. It's not a matter of, if you're asking me if I think God loves trans people, I would say absolutely. Yeah. God loves everybody. God loves murderers. God loves rapists. I mean, that's the difference between him and us. Yeah. I don't love rapists. Yeah. Like I said earlier, I think they should all die. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's true of trans. I don't think trans people should die. I just want to make that connection. Yeah. I'm not comparing those two things. Okay. My point I'm making is that God loves everybody regardless of what they believe. Yeah. The question is, the scriptures are very clear. In order for a person to be saved, as a Christian term is, they need to literally receive Christ into their spirit. Like Christ indwells a person. Yeah. Like he's inside me right now. He's not inside everybody. Yeah. He's only inside those that receive him. Yeah. People aren't born. They're born. Jesus said you got to be born again. That's what he meant. You have to be born spiritually. Yeah. Everybody's born physically, right, at birth. Yeah. Now we have to be regenerated because we're born spiritually dead.
And I'm not saying this facetiously at all. So it's going to come out like, I'm being trying to parody this. I'm not. Mm-hmm. So why should the contents of one's underwear be it shouldn't be if God exists, why does it matter so much? Of what people.
Why does what matter so much?
Their identity in being a woman or a man if they weren't.
I don't think it does. In the grand scheme of things, again, so when a person, to use is it a euphemism or whatever, to use an example that everybody uses, at the pearly gates, where St. Peter's there, which of course none of that's biblical, but they're at the pearly gates, they're answering to God, right? The question is not going to be, are you a biological man who believes you're a woman or a biological woman who believes you're a man? That's not even going to be in the questioning. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The question is, do you have Christ or do you not have Christ? Are you a sheep or are you a goat, as the Bible would present it, right? That's the question. Yeah. And if the answer is yes, then you get in. If it's not, it doesn't matter who. You see what I'm saying? So as far as Christianity goes, as far as spirituality is concerned, it doesn't matter.
Then why does it matter in our everyday life?
Transgenderism?
Yeah.
Well, I gave my reason for that. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't as far as that specific thing, as much as the concept.
Yeah. Do you think then that these people are like groomers?
See, now you're using general terms. Who's these people?
Well, so
do I think the entire transgender community is
on TikTok? Do you think they might be, trying to push the agenda? But your everyday Republican or your everyday Democrat, they don't count or toe the party line extremely in their everyday, everyday people just go to work, pay their bills, right, and stuff like that. So
if you're asking me if I think that the majority of the trans community is pedophilic groomers, no.
Okay, yeah.
Not even close.
And I don't think they're trying to set an agenda. All I think is that they just want to be treated fairly, without ridicule and without violence.
And I think that's what they should expect, right? I don't think anybody should be treated with violence. I don't care what you believe or what. I don't think anybody should be treated with violence personally. So I think they have every right to expect that, to be treated fairly and rightly. But I also think that I should have the right to believe that they are wrong in their belief without me being attacked. I think it's a conversation to have. I think I fully believe, like I said, I meet with lots of people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different everything. And one of the things I always say is, I think every person has every right to believe whatever they want. I don't think, but if you ask me, do I think there is a correct belief system when it comes to spirituality? I'll tell you yes. And I'll explain to you why I think Christ is the only way of salvation. I'll give you my reasons for that. But does that mean that I'm going to hate somebody who doesn't believe it or wish violence upon them? So like I can think that a person who's biologically a woman is a woman, regardless of what they think in their mind. I can hold that belief and at the same time hold the belief that I love that person no different than anybody else. I don't wish anything bad for them. I don't hope. Are there some Christians or professing Christians anyway, that say those things? I hope all trans people die and all this. Yeah, there are. And they're not representing Christ when they say those things because he doesn't feel that way. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like no matter what religion you're a part of, there's always people that are going to deviate from what their book teaches, right? And so again, you got back to Westboro Baptist Church back in the day, right? They have the God hates fags, right? Posters and stuff. And a lot of the world looks at that and says, see, that's the way Christians are. No, it's not. Those are people that are putting the name of Jesus on their building. But their actions right now, that is not Christ-like actions, right? They are not doing what Jesus would want them to do, right? Jesus is never going to have a God hates fag sign. Do you see what I'm saying? That word, though. Oh, that's true, huh? That's the touchy word, yeah. But anyway.
So my thing with is, just to answer it quickly, there might be a God, and I might have to answer for my things, and all people, whether they're biological or not, will have to answer for their stuff. But that's on the afterlife. Right now, people are just wanting to be treated as humans,
right? And they should be,
and how they want to present themselves,
right? And I agree, I agree with you. But the problem I have is when I make a statement like, I don't think a biological woman who thinks their man is a man, they take that as hate speech.
And I don't.
Right? And they take that as, see, that you shouldn't be allowed to say that, Ryan. That's hate speech. And it's like, that's my opinion, just like your opinion is that, not yours. I mean, I'm talking to the trans person. Their opinion is that if they're a biological man and they believe them a woman, they are a woman. I support their right to believe that.
Yeah.
They should also support my right to believe that's not true.
Yeah, but...
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's like saying... Because that's something fundamental to their existence as a human, man.
Great.
It's like saying, well, maybe it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it's like saying, I don't like you because you're black.
Well, okay.
It's not an apples to apples comparison.
It's not, but at the same time, I think a person has the right to believe that.
Okay, yeah.
I think they are 100% wrong and evil in that belief, but I also think they have the right. Now, do they have the right to hurt somebody because they don't like black people? Do they have the right to go hurt a black person because they don't like them? Absolutely not. I don't support that right, but I do support the right for a person to believe whatever they want.
Yeah, true.
If they want to be racist and not hurt anybody through it and just sit in their home and be racist and throw darts at a board of a black... I mean, I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's evil, but... They have every right to believe that. Do you see what I'm saying? So, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. What did we learn out of it? What's the overall? I don't know either, man. No.
What did we learn?
Discussion, man.
It's good, dude.
Discussion is good, brother.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Thank you for the chai latte, man. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
The vanilla chai.
Yeah. It's chai latte. Vanilla chai latte. Yeah. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. It was. I love the discussion, man. I don't know when part 2 is gonna happen, but
well, we'll see how many others I can get lined up. I'm gonna post on Facebook and letting people know, hey, you want to be our guest? Let me know. And I gotta weed through them though, because it's like, I don't know. I don't want some like hostile, wanting to beat me up in my own house kind of person. I want someone who can disagree and have a rational, civil conversation.
Like a racist.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we all know what you want when you say. We all know when you say there's like a conversation or a logical piece. You just want a fellow white. Yeah.
That's you got me, dude. You totally read into my theory. Thanks for checking out the first episode of the Why Can't We Talk About That podcast. If you enjoyed listening, please subscribe and also let some other people know that it exists. If you have any questions or comments for me or any of my guests, you can contact me at whycan'twetallaboutthat@proton.me. Thanks. Here's a clip from next week's episode.
But if I had a friend who came to me and said, I've met this nice man and we're going to get married and we both want to have kids and I've decided I'm giving up my career to stay home and birth babies and raise my children, I wouldn't look at her and go, well, you're stupid.
Right. You think that's good for her.
I would say, great for you.
Right.
Is this what you want?
Yeah.
So that stereotypical gender role, if you want to be Donna Reed, go be Donna Reed. Right?
What if I want to be Donna Reed?
You could be Donna Reed too. They make pumps in your size.
They do. I've seen them.
I can get you in contact with a drag queen company that will make the heels in your size.
Let me think about it. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.